has 5 has 5. Hoggers, froggers, coggers, doggers, hoggers. Who is Andy? Legend of Arjan. Thanks for getting me through the past several months, Hasan. Legend of Hasan Breath of the Attendees. Hasan, Arjan, Ayan, Azerbaijan, Pogo. Love you, chat. Love you, chat. Hassle chat. Hassle. Hassle. 3 months, Spock. Porno as do eyes like Abby. Best community illy chat Arjan Pogo. Pogo.
What's going on, everybody? I hope everyone's having a fantastic evening, afternoon, pre-noon, no matter where you are in the world. I'm Hasan Piker, and this is the HasanAbi broadcast coming to you live from sunny California, Los Angeles. It is a beautiful day in sunny California, Los Angeles today, actually, as a matter of fact. And we are live and alive, even though the forecast says it's partly cloudy. Oh, shit. Hold on. I got to pick this up 1 second.
Has Chud mustard?
Never mind. It was actually shit. It's good start to the day, boys. Good start to the day. Okay. It was nothing. It was just a robocall. Okay, so where was I? I hope everyone's having a fantastic evening, afternoon, pre-noon, no matter where you are in the world. To all the boys, girls, and MBs, shouts out to all of you. It was the doubters that were calling. Hello? Doubters. Anyway. What the fuck? I just sneezed and now I'm like, now I got like a weird thing. All right. Back update real quick. My back is doing a lot better than yesterday. This morning I was able to walk. I spent a long ass time stretching my back, or not my back, rather my quads and hammies and mostly my hammies and glutes. This morning again. What I end up doing is if I'm playing Zelda on my Switch, I just stand up and I put my leg on a elevated resting position that's like higher than my waist, and I basically put it up like this and I lean into it and I stretch for like 10 minutes, and I'll complete a shrine or something and then move on to the next leg. So I'm not fully there yet though, but as soon as I am,
I know that you've been enjoying gaming,
I'm going to go back to working out, obviously. So excited about that.
I think this is also why half of your daycare gets picked up at gaming time as well. No hard feelings.
What did he say?
Normalized Normans.
I mean, my mom says the Breath of the Wild is too mature for me to watch. Yeah. Breath of the Wild is too adult for all the babies who instead would rather watch me do politics. Anyway, Zelda updates Hasan. There's no updates beyond that. I did like the ancient horse armor and shit like that. I just did a couple like DLC stuff, not like a big deal. Nothing crazy is what I mean. I didn't do anything crazy. Bollywood caping for Modi against the farmers. How do I cope as a Punjabi person? Hasan? What do you mean? Isn't Bollywood always fucking caping for Modi? I thought that was like a big problem with Bollywood regardless. So what is new? Yeah, Bollywood motherfuckers are just like Hollywood. Remember, never forget, Hollywood booed Michael Moore when he criticized the Iraq War, okay? During his famous Oscar speech, they booed him. They stood up and they booed him, okay? A lot of our elites are in positions of power because they are inoffensive. When they are inoffensive, they aren't going to have points of view that deviate too far from the norm. Now, there are, of course, exceptions to this rule, but a lot of people in mainstream media get to the positions that they get to by literally being brand friendly. And brand friendly is, of course, defending and oftentimes caping for institutional power. You gotta talk about the Ilhan shit. It's crazy. What do you mean? Who's on my shirt? Motherfucking Jezza, baby. As far as I know from people who were in the theater, there were few boos for that Oscar speech. Yes, there were. There were definitely boos for that Oscar speech. You're out of your mind. I did watch the hilarious MyPillow guy segment yesterday, but it is so good that I think it bears a rewatch today. So we'll do that. Anyway, there isn't really much going on in my life aside from my back pain is getting a little bit better. Last night I didn't eat poorly after I ended, so that was a big dub for me, so I'll take it. I've been having a hard time fucking up my diet a lot.
Is my dad.
Yesterday I just ate my chicken and rice, and then after that I got hungry, and immediately on my phone I was like, do I order Postmates? And I was like, you know what? No, I'm not going to. I just had 2 eggs, and that was pretty solid. My mommy has also been making me some like this apple cake that she makes. It's like gluten-free. And I usually hate apple, but inside of a cake, but hey, fuck it. Like, it's tasty and it's somewhat, it's tasty and
2 months in a long
somewhat
journey. I love you,
healthy,
Habibi.
I think. So anyway, that's all I did. That is all I have done last night and this morning. So that's all I've been doing. And the reason why I have my Instagram voice is because I'm a little grovelly, little nasally, and of course I stayed in bed far too long.
I can't believe.
Do you like any kinds of fruit pies? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Anyway, I think that concludes our personal news proportion for the day. I'm just gonna hop right into it. I'm gonna hop right into the news, baby. Let's do it. Jen Psaki is currently live. She is taking questions from the press right now. The White House press briefing is live and alive, so we're going to go to that right now. I'm going to welcome the Normans into our home as well, and then after that, we'll move on to some news.
I have not discussed that with him specifically. I do know that when I was at the State Department, they attended the briefing. I had a little fun with them from time to time, but they attended the briefing. They asked questions, but I think there's no question as we're trying to decipher information that's accurate and inaccurate, it's important for the American people to know that there are outlets working on behalf of foreign governments who have an agenda, and they're not playing the role of free press and free media as you all are.
What the fuck? I just saw the Ilhan Omar shit. Oh my god. Oh my god. I just logged on. And, okay, that's fucking crazy. Okay, we'll talk about the Ilhan Omar shit in a second.
Goal is for the number.
The House GOP is now trying to do a counter expulsion, and they want to take away Ilhan Omar's committee assignments. You know, because she's a brown woman who wears a hijab. So of course. That is the equivalent of being Marjorie Taylor Greene, a conspiracy theorist psychopath. So that's great.
American, and it was seen as bold and ambitious at the time. But we're not going to stop at 100 million. We're not declaring victory. That's that we wanted to set markers for ourselves. So that's the marker we set, and we're working to achieve it. Go ahead.
Senators Coons and Carper earlier today said that cabinet confirmations came up during their meeting. I was wondering if the president's been frustrated by the pace on the Senate side and whether he had phrased out what his message is to senators.
Well, presidents always want it to move faster. That's what I can confirm, having been here twice. But, you know, there certainly was a delay in the confirmation of a number of our cabinet nominees. Over the course of weeks, some of them were slower paced than they should have been early on. And there are people we would like to see in place. Obviously, Ali Mayorkas was fortunately confirmed yesterday to Secretary of Homeland Security. We'd, of course, love for the Senate to move forward with the confirmation of Attorney General Merrick Garland, future Attorney General, I guess I should say, Merrick Garland, in order to deliver on the president's promise of an independent Justice Department that's not influenced by politics. That would certainly be a break in the past. So there are still key positions that have not moved through the confirmation process that we are eager to see move forward. We have seen, though, some progress in the last week or so, and a number who have moved forward. Former Mayor Pete Buttigieg, of course, yesterday just confirmed as the first LGBTQ secretary in a cabinet. He's going to play a pivotal role on our economic planning, but there's more to be done. It's something that the president and his team will continue to push on to get his full team in place. Go ahead.
Do you know on the cloud contract for that the Pentagon awarded to Microsoft, do you know if the Biden White House is going to review that at all? Because, I mean, you know that during the Trump administration, it was awarded to Microsoft instead of Amazon. And President Trump had some feelings about Amazon. And
I heard that, saw that.
A review?
I would certainly send you to the Pentagon on that, Jennifer. And if there's more to report from here, I will let you know, but I would certainly send you to the Pentagon. Go ahead all the way in the back.
Hey, would President Biden be open to having mandatory year-round schooling to get kids caught up, so many kids who are falling behind? Would be open to something like that? Or having full-time summer school, whatever it takes?
I have not discussed full-time or year-round schooling with the president. Of course, as you know, that requires often state funding, and that often is up to governors to know if they can provide that funding. But I don't think I have anything further for you on that.
Thank you.
All right. Did anyone not get a question? Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Upside down face.
Okay, good stuff. Deeply boring. Luckily it ended. We're gonna talk about the Newsmax shit. It's
What
so
types of
fucking good.
workouts
It's
do
so
you do?
fucking good. Oh, there's more new. There's new Newsmax shit. Never mind. Okay, yo, let's do it. Let's do both of the Newsmax things in a row because, goddamn, boys, I'm jumping right into that one before I get into the Ilhan Omar stuff and check it out. So, Newsmax, as you all know, is America's greatest. I mean, America's absolutely greatest news broadcast on the planet. I already tweeted. I just tweeted that I'm live and alive. So here, you can go pump it. You can go pump it and tell them Norm.
Yo.
Oh shit! What the fuck? Nice link, Hasan. Nice link, dude. Nice link, bro. I am on it today, dude. I am fucking on it today. Here, you can go pump that up. Okay, so Newsmax is America's most important news broadcast. As you all know, it's one of the last truth teller places on the internet. Now, I say this, but it hurts my soul that Newsmax is now gone. Communist China, baby. This is just like 1987 George Orwell. Okay, this is George Orwell, Animal Crossing, all of it. Now, I want to issue, I don't normally do this, but I got to issue you a trigger warning, ladies and gentlemen. A trigger warning. Because what you're about to see will put a fucking tear in any goddamn America lover's eye. Our last bastion of hope and freedom of speech. Freedom of speech. Freedom of speech. I can't even talk right now, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so mad. Destroyed right before our eyes.
Personal account last week. Joining us now to discuss is the founder and CEO of MyPillow and the author of the book, What Are the Odds? Mike Lindell. Mike, thank you so much for joining us and welcome. So what happened? What happened with your Twitter account and the company page?
Well, first mine was taken down because we have all the election fraud with these Dominion machines. We have 100% proof. And then when they took it down about 3 weeks ago, and then I put it back up, my personal, it was a
Mike, thank you very much. Mike, you're talking about machines that we at Newsmax have not been able to verify any of those kinds of allegations.
No, Mike, they say, what the hell's going on? Why are they stopping him? Are they stopping him because he's too much of a goddamn patriot? He's talking about the truths that nobody wants to hear about how Dominion voting machine software is tweaking and Hugo Chavez is responsible for Donald Trump getting the election stolen from him. And Newsmax is, wait a minute, Newsmax has been talking about that nonstop. Why are they trying to silence the truth? Oh no. I need a safe space.
We just want to let people know that there's nothing substantive that we've seen. And let me read you something there. While there were...
Well, it seems like he's got a speech right in front of his face, folks. What the fuck is going on? What, is he reading? I don't even know how to read. Real conservatives don't know how to read, brother. What the hell? What is he reading over there? What? Oh, God. As in, they knew that if they had MyPillow, Mr. Pillow on, that they were going to have this moment and they were going to have to inevitably read out a legal statement that was placed in front of the newscaster. Now, I know I talked about this yesterday, but this is a good YouTube clip as well. So this one's going on the YouTube boys. So that's why I'm redoing it.
Some clear evidence of some cases of vote fraud and election irregularities. The election results in every state were certified, and Newsmax accepts the results as legal and final. The courts have also supported that view. So we wanted to talk to you about...
So he's just like, dude, shut the fuck up, dude. Stick to what you want. Okay, stick to why we brought you here. Like, we don't want you to talk about Dominion and shit. We're gonna get sued again, and we don't want it. We already have the cease and desist, and we already said. Listen, here's how it goes. In America, it is very difficult to sue someone for libel, slander, what have you. America's freedom of speech laws are pretty much ironclad for the most part, unless you're like, a Black Panther or something, or a communist during the McCarthy trials. But outside of that, it's pretty ironclad, and it's not like the UK, for example, where you can sue someone for slander. It's you have to establish malicious intent, right? So what companies will do is send out a cease and desist and say, this information is incorrect. You have to stop covering this, and you have to put forward a retractive statement saying that you did not know, but the information that you put out there was false, right? And once they once they respond to that cease and desist, and Newsmax did do that, they did respond to that cease and desist and actually put out a statement saying this information was incorrect, and we have, this information was incorrect, and we are continuing with our coverage. Sorry for the incorrect information, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Once they did that, now you have already established that going forward, if you willingly continue to contribute to that misinformation, that's it.
Stop normalizing.
That's it. You can get cleaned out completely. That is a clear, open and shut, no freedom of speech protection there, no slander, libel protection there. Absolute open and shut case of deliberate slander, right? So now that they've already apologized for it and responded to the cease and desist, they have to be extra careful. And that's precisely why they have this notepad in front of them, okay?
Canceling culture, if you will. We don't want to relitigate the allegations that you're making, Mike, because we understand where you are. So let me ask you this. Do you think that this should be temporary because it appears to be permanent? Could you make an argument that it is temporary?
What?
Could you make an argument that this could be a temporary banning rather than...
I don't... What?
Temporary, because it appears to be permanent. Could you make an argument that it is temporary?
What?
Could you make an argument?
Even she laughed, dude. It's so bad. It's so good.
Argument that this could be a temporary banning rather than permanent.
No, I want it to be a permanent because you know what? They did this because I'm revealing all the evidence on Friday of all the election fraud with these machines. So I'm sorry if you think it's not
Mike,
real.
can I ask our producers, can we get out of here, please? I don't want to have to keep going over this.
Actually,
we at Newsmax have not been able to verify any of those allegations that you're...
Mike, hold on a second.
Newsmax, more like Newsmark.
Wait, hold on a second. Mike, hold on one second. Let's talk a little...
And then he gets up and leaves, dude. He did a self-cancel. He's like, fuck this. I'm out. No need to get owned by a lawsuit. I'm dipping. There's literally no use. There's no reason. This is so fucking dumb. I'm not going to be a part of this. And that's where we're at with conservative broadcasting. Apparently, conservatives are upset at Newsmax now because they are no longer reporting the truth. And of course, if you are a conservative, the truth is what you want to hear. You want to be babied endlessly. You want to be put in a little crib and sung rockabye baby lullabies to. That's what you want, okay? You want that sweet, delicious copium that you are hooked on. And no longer can you get that from Newsmax, at least just on this issue. You can still go to any conservative outlet, whether it's mainstream or not, and hear a number of different, a litany of different psychotic opinions, racial agitprop, and all of that is commonplace in most of these broadcasts, right? But this is one area, as a consequence of the many lawsuits and cease and desist that Dominion has sent forward. This is one area where they can no longer lie. Of course, they did it for months, and it doesn't matter. The damage is already done. People totally got on board with this nonsense and even stormed
these 5 months
the halls of Congress. But now they are no longer doing that.
Minority Leader McCarthy was there, Chairman Brady, that's several of us. And to hear the heart-wrenching stories of these pipeline companies that have to tell thousands of their employees they're now laid off because of executive orders by this new president. It is unbelievable what we're seeing. And the quote by Bernie Sanders.
Federal agents.
Incredible. These guys, man, they are not doing all right.
No
they are.
fucking way.
How is this a news channel? Like all. The beautiful part about it is that Newsmax, as long as it exists, is proving a point, which is that it don't really take much to be a conservative news network that is relatively popular. All you literally need to do is just say things that they want to fucking hear, that conservatives want to hear, okay? You don't have to make an argument. You don't have to advocate for a certain position beyond like what the regular conservative argument and talking points are. As long as you take it one step further, as long as you push whatever is on Fox News +1, you're good. You will hold on to a captive audience. It's great. It's absolutely great. It's awesome. I love it. Anyway, that concludes the Newsmax session. What is this? Why is this live right now?
I have a confession to make. Before Mike Lindell became the big Trump supporter and we didn't know about him, I actually bought the pillow. And let me say, it was like sleeping, it was like basically like sleeping on a manhole cover. It is like cement. It's like cement on your head. It's the worst thing. And you know.
Are they broadcasting The View live now? Like, did we just accidentally stumble into this?
6 months we out here love you, homie.
I would say about the First Amendment that Sonny was talking about. All I can say is I remember bringing up on this show about yelling fire in the theater, and everybody said that is within your First Amendment rights. So it's fine. It is just a trope or something or some kind of an idea. But Lawrence Tribe, who was a famous Harvard constitutional law professor, he said this. He said, what's involved here is much more like being the fire chief and urging a mob to burn the theater down. That is not freedom of speech. So that'll be interesting to see the case.
What the hell is going on? I don't know why this is like. I'll go stop watching this. Top right on panel is clearly a gaming streaming viewer. Why? Because she got powerful neck. So she's Haas above. Is that what you're saying? Or because she's wearing a I am powerful t-shirt.
We love you.
You know?
Hey.
Have you ever been, or would you ever go on The View? What topics would you want to talk about the most? I mean, sure. Yeah. This is a silly question. Guys, I will go on most news broadcasts as long as they have an audience. Like, why wouldn't I? Why would I say no? Like, if there is an opportunity for me to convince, you know, wine moms on my worldview and what my values are, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna do it. That sounds like
on The View.
That sounds like an awesome opportunity. Why wouldn't I do that? You know? Same with Joe Rogan. Now, there are, of course, broadcasts I won't go to regardless of what the fucking audience is, but actually, that's not true. First, you would have to explain to them who you are. Yeah. As long as they have an audience, I guess that excludes Dave Rubin. I mean, I make exceptions for appearances on, you know, fun content. Like, I went on Jesse Lee Peterson because that was content. And also on top of that, like, you know, he has a very different audience than mine. So I think that could be somewhat interesting of a conversation. I'd go on Dave Rubin's show just for the content. InfoWars is probably the only one I won't go on. Okay. I'm Hasan Piker, but you can call me Mr. 911. Yeah, that's not. Even on the Train podcast, I would love. Listen, the only reason why I haven't been on the Train podcast is because he does it dead in the fucking night on Thursday nights, and either A, I'm streaming at that time because I'm like knee deep in some video gaming, or B, because I'm spending time with my mom. So if I'm not streaming, I'm probably using that as an off time to hang out with my mom. Train talks shit about you every time, but he also asked me. He also asked me to be on the show, and also that's just the way Train shows love. Train will be the nicest person to you until he knows you as a friend and can like get you on a show whenever he wants, and then he'll just talk shit. Because that's just the way he is. That's the way he shows love. It's like pulling your dick. Yeah, there was a point in time when I think he wasn't friendly, or was like distanced. You know what I mean? And didn't. No, but now it's not like that at all. Stop cradling your mother and fly from the nest, baby bird. Yeah, dude. I should just send my mom to the throes of fucking COVID-infested America instead of living with her here for the duration, for the time being, at least until she gets her vaccine. Which, by the way, in vaccine news, my grandpappy got vaccinated, so that's good. That's like one person in our family that's gotten vaccinated so far. I don't know. He does a lot of some streamers are fake and hypocrites and says stuff that implies you. I mean, who gives a shit? Does Joe Biden plan to keep the Arizona team 99 cents? Dude, we will revolt. Chat, don't mock trying to save a list. Don't say that. Anyway, okay, so. Wow. The truth about Captain Unity, Joe Biden. We're not going to do the Ben Shabibo thing yet, obviously. Instead, I'm going to look at what is going on with this Ilhan Omar story and Marjorie Taylor Greene. We've already done the highlights of Marjorie Taylor Greene, as you guys already know. We looked at the highlights of Marjorie Taylor Greene a bunch of times, so it's like kind of silly to consistently talk about that over and over again. She's a freak. She's a certified freak, 7 days a week, wet ass P word, make that pull out game week, as everybody knows. Yeah, but like, instead of being sexy, imagine if wet ass P word and being a certified freak was about believing in psychopathic conspiracy theories and, you know, just like regular stuff that Republican constituents believe. Okay. And some Republican representatives also believe in, but won't say it out loud, but some of them do say it out loud now because that's where we're at in the country, where like, you know, we're moving on from the Stephen King, or was it Steve King? Sorry, not Stephen King. The Steve King version of the Republican Party, which would say stuff like, you know, we must secure a future for our white children, or you can't have, which is the 14 words, which is a white supremacist slogan, to saying stuff like you can't have a civilization with other people's children and other people's babies, as in, you know, black people cannot build civilizations, that sort of thing. That was the implication from Stephen King, or Steve King. Fuck, not Stephen King. God damn it, Steve King. To Marjorie Taylor Greene. I keep saying Stephen King. To Marjorie Taylor Greene, just running on the QAnon ticket. And she's not alone.
Has raid.
She is not alone. But this is the age-old, yes, this is the Squad W argument, which is double standard Why is Ilhan Omar alive and breathing when Marjorie Taylor Greene has literally been murdered, as in, asked to be censured and removed from her committee positions because the Republican Party, after finding out about all of this stuff, which they already knew, okay, the QAnon stuff, the murder Nancy Pelosi stuff, all of the things that Marjorie Taylor Greene has said and done, the Republican Party did what? Did they censure her? Did they say, hey, please stop doing this? Hey, let's try to, I don't know, engage in some sort of brand change for you, restructure your brand a little bit? No, they put her on the education committee because that's what the Republican Party believes the education in America needed, okay? That's goes to show how much they give a fuck about education. So, of course, we are talking about the House of Representatives, and that is considered the madhouse by the Senate. And that's why a bunch of Republican senators, including Mitch McConnell, have come out with strong words against Marjorie Taylor Greene. Mitch McConnell even ended up calling her a cancer. Before we get to this part of the story, now the GOP doing the no you actually move, or old heads will know this as the Squad W defense. If they can hit us, then we should be able to hit back on them. Let's hear what Mitch McConnell had to say about Marjorie Taylor Greene. So remember that some Republicans, I think it was Arkansas governor or something, it was it refused to say that Marjorie Taylor Greene was bad. I think you mean future Vice President it was simply a disagreement or a difference in opinion that she had, and that's why she should not be censured or purged from the Republican Party for believing things like, Sandy Hook wasn't real, or believing things like the Parkland shooting was, or harassing the Parkland shooting victims, for example. So space lasers are the reason why California wildfires happen. Just differences in opinion, regular diversity of idea stuff, high level idea gang, Marjorie Taylor Greene. So Mitch McConnell had this to say about her. Also, incredible title from the WAPO opinion section.
Senate
here.
Minority Leader Mitch McConnell just unleashed a scathing attack against Republican Congresswoman QAnon support.
Has Mitch McConnell been struck by a Jewish space laser, writes Dana Milbank. We've known about this shit for a while, and Mitch McConnell chose today to take a stand. Or yesterday
Marjorie
to take
Taylor
a stand.
Greene. He pointed directly at her without actually calling her by name. It's pretty clear, though, who he's talking about. In a statement released by his office, McConnell said, and I quote, "Loony lies and conspiracy theories are cancer for the Republican Party and our country. Somebody who suggested that perhaps no airplane hit the Pentagon on 9/11, that horrifying school shootings were pre-staged, and that the Clintons crashed JFK Jr.'s airplane is not living in reality. This has nothing to do with the challenges facing American families or the robust debates on substance."
Mitch McConnell be like, everybody knows the Pentagon was hit by a plane, controlled by Ahmadinejad, which is why we need to nuke Iran immediately, like tomorrow, And also, school shootings are not fake, they're real, but they're also very good. And what we need to do is arm more teachers so they start shooting their students. Therefore, that's built in austerity. As you know, this is a program we started in my home state of Kentucky, where now teachers start executing children in their classroom for speaking out of turn, and that way we reduce the size of the classroom. Win-win. This way, it's built in austerity, is celebrated so that the wealthy Kentuckians can take more of their bacon home, and the oppressive government doesn't take their money away from them.
That can strengthen our party. Meanwhile, sources tell CNN Greene could meet as early as tomorrow evening with House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy as Democrats are demanding she be removed from her committee assignments for an array of unhinged statements, some of which McConnell's statement just referenced. Last week's CNN's K-File uncovered Ms. Greene's support for executing prominent Democratic politicians before she was elected to Congress. And on one social media post recently unearthed, she agreed with people who claimed the school shooting in Parkland, Florida, nearly 3 years ago was a, quote, false flag operation. Coming up, I'll talk with the mother of one of the victims of that.
One of the greatest parts about this Marjorie Taylor Greene saga has been literally the Republican fucking dad of a person who died, the father of a girl who died at Parkland, defending Marjorie Taylor Greene on Twitter. Incredible, dude. There is no greater example of conservatism being brain cancer and causing you to literally deny what is right in front of your eyes, like deny reality happening to you in the most powerful ways possible. One of the dads whose fucking daughter got killed in Parkland was defending Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yeah. Yeah, which of course means she's right, brother. Hey, I'm sorry. Well, this person's daughter died, and now he's defending Marjorie Taylor Greene for harassing the rest of the Parkland school shooting victims.
Shooting had a private conversation with Greene, well, to get her take, but this afternoon, perhaps wary of potential discipline, the Congresswoman suddenly reversed course in an interview with the very conservative One American News Network.
It's what his daughter would have wanted. Be respectful. Exactly. Conservatives be like, actually, dude, actually, yeah, his daughter would have wanted that. His daughter would have wanted the QAnon congressperson who has previously denied other school shootings to harass the rest of her classmates who didn't die at the school shooting. That's what she would have wanted, Sweaty. You are being insane right now. My uncle just said that McConnell's being blackmailed to say that. With what, dude? Nussy pics? Like, what can you... He is the devil. You should ask him because, like, actually, unironically ask him because I want to know how deep the conspiracy hole goes in your uncle's brain. And I do love that. I do love that a lot. I've talked about this before. Like, conservatives are so good at coming up with different ways of avoiding reality. It is always remarkable. So I truly enjoy it. I truly enjoy seeing like how far that fucking... Oh, easy. Oh, he said his Chinese wife. Of course he did. Okay, good stuff. There you go. Oh, just textbook racism. Got it. Okay. Yes, Mitch McConnell's wife is indeed Chinese. He'll get annoyed by spam and won't click during the video. I've seen this happen too many times. Yes, guys, I know that Ryan Big Boomer Grimm of The Intercept made his like Twitter link with dashes, so it's technically a actual fucking link. So if you go to Ryan Grimm's Twitter, and click on Ryan-Grimm or whatever the fuck the link is on his description on his Twitter bio, it directs to my stream. Someone bought it and redirected it here. I don't know why. I don't know why someone did that. We talked about this before. But every now and then someone finds that out and is like literally like, dude, you have to see this. Anyway.
These are not red flag incidences. They are not fake. And it's terrible, the loss that these families go through and their friends as well. And it should never happen. And it doesn't have to happen if we would protect our children properly.
Wait. She's like, which is why I was trying to do another shooting on the people that got away, you know, the kids that got away. I wanted to go up and threaten them. If you remember, what she did specifically was literally walk up to David Hogg in the fucking halls of Congress, or like while he was walking in Washington, D.C., found David Hogg, started chasing him around and was going, I have a gun on me. I have a gun on me. Do you want to take my gun away? I have a gun on me, which is like, what are you trying to do? It's like, huh? You want to take, I bet you fucking like that, David Hogg. You want to take my gun away? You want to take my goddamn gun away? Huh? Is that what you want? Is that what you, I bet you'd like that, you sick freak. Take it away. Take it away from me. Take that gun away from me.
She said red flag incidences as opposed to false flag. I'm not sure if there's any significance with that. CNN's Ryan Nobles joins us now with the state of play. So, Ryan, has the Congresswoman responded to Senate Minority Leader McConnell's rebuke?
She did. In fact, she tweeted out almost immediately as that statement was first released. She said, quote, the real cancer for the Republican Party is weak Republicans who only know how to lose gracefully. This is why we are losing our country. And Anderson, I have to admit, over the next couple of days, if she is hoping to stay on these committees that she's currently sitting on in the House of Representatives, you would expect to see some level of contrition from her because of these past statements. If this statement is any indication, that's likely not to happen.
So that was the first part of the Marjorie Taylor Greene saga. And now Fox News, which is the propaganda arm of the Republican Party, and the psychopaths over at the House of Representatives were like, haha, actually, the real person that needs to be kicked out of the Republican Party is Liz Cheney, which I agree with, by the way, just by virtue of being related to Dick Cheney, who is a demon. I don't even mind purging Liz Cheney from the American government, but they want to purge Liz Cheney. Why? Because she is on board with Donald Trump being impeached for the insurrection. And instead, they want to protect Marjorie Taylor Greene. And the way they want to do that is by doing the classic no use status, which is it's a really powerful card. This is not a tier 1 defense. This is probably a tier 3 defense. Republicans apply this all the time. It's they activate this. They activated this card during the Roy Moore saga, if you remember, and because Democrats hurt themselves in confusion so frequently that during the Roy Moore saga, if you recall, it came out that there was a lot of credible pedophilia accusations. He wasn't allowed to be near the vicinity of his fucking mall in his hometown because he was like, trying to pick up girls there, like R. Kelly outside of a high school, and what ended up happening is Republicans were like, oh yeah, well, here's the reverse card. Al Franken is a domestic abuser, rapist as well, or some shit like that. And why did that happen? Because a Fox News commentator came out and said Al Franken touched me over my Kevlar vest while I was sleeping. And because everyone was so heated at the time, immediately Democrats were like, oh yeah, we need to get Al Franken out of here. And Al Franken then resigned. And it is a powerful card, is what I mean. Like, it is definitely a powerful card. And you could make the argument that in the Al Franken case, like, that was something that Al Franken did was bad, despite the fact that the original person said, yeah, I accept his apology. It's not that big of a deal. That part never got discussed ever again. None of that really matters with Al Franken. He's now making podcasts and stuff, and I think he's just he looks disheveled and crazy. But regardless, Al Franken, that was a scalp that the Republicans were able to take and literally argue that Roy Moore is actually good while simultaneously saying Al Franken is actually bad. It was actually bad that Al Franken did what he did while they were still advocating for Roy Moore and saying everything that you say about Roy Moore is a lie. So really cool stuff from the Republicans, and it was an instance where it worked. Hopefully in this circumstance, it won't fucking work because protect Ilhan Omar at all costs. Ilhan Omar did nothing wrong. Ilhan Omar has said nothing wrong. It's by virtue of her existence that people are saying she must be anti-Semitic and shit like that. Okay? So here's what the Republicans are doing now to defend against the Marjorie Taylor Greene stuff. They are attacking Ilhan Omar.
Is that there are some Republicans.
Oh, but before we get to this portion of the argument or of the video, I do have to run our first top of the hour, every hour, 60-second ad break right now. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, and NBs, it's time once again. It's a 60-second ad break. If you no longer want to see the ads, all you need to do is subscribe. You can do it for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime. The Twitch Prime is free, ladies and gentlemen, by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. It's like taking money away from Jeff Bezos and giving it to me, but no longer is Jeff Bezos the CEO, which we're going to be talking about later as well. So here's the ad. Yeah, get those last Twitch Primes out. The last opportunity from Jeff Bezos to now.
Who want to strip Representative Ilhan Omar of her committee assignments. What's that all about?
Yeah, so that is the rebuttal from Republicans after Democrats seized on a moment to try to make freshman Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene the face of the Republican Party. They have launched a $500,000 ad campaign linking House Republicans to QAnon because of her controversial comments and embrace of conspiracy theories. Now, there was an hours-long meeting last night where Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy met with Greene to try to work out some sort of punishment over those comments she made. But Greene evidently did not back down, and now Republicans are floating the idea of stripping Greene of just one of her committees to appease Democrats. But others say if Democrats are going to come after Greene, then Ilhan Omar's fair game. A proposed amendment calls for Omar to be removed from her committee assignments as well in light of conduct she has exhibited, arguing she's made anti-Semitic comments in the past. Now, Democrats are already fighting back. Congressman Dean Phillips wrote, "Get a grip on reality. Representative Omar didn't belittle a school shooting survivor, claim that no airplane hit the Pentagon on 9/11, insist lasers started the California wildfires, or endorse the assassination of the Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives." Now, GOP leadership is awaiting a status report, also amid pressure to oust Representative Liz Cheney of her leadership post after she voted to impeach President Trump. So you've got a battle happening on both ends of the Republican Party right now, and Democrats are really seizing on the moment, Dana.
Jackie, thanks for getting us kicked off this morning. Appreciate it.
Nice to see you, Jackie. Juan Williams with me now. Josh Holmes as well. Gentlemen, welcome to the program and good morning. Let's pick up on the Ilhan Omar tit for tat. She said, Israel has hypnotized the world. May Allah awaken the people and help them see the evil doings of Israel. She later said it's all about the Benjamins, baby. Is this a tit for tat, Juan? And would you understand that?
I think it's not an equivalent at all, Bill. But, you know, I understand what's going on here. This is politics. It's hardball. And given what's going on in terms of the war, civil war within the Republican Party over Marjorie Taylor Greene, you know, you hear what's coming from Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, saying that basically her conspiracy theories and ideas are a cancer within the Republican Party and tearing at the fabric of the country. I think there are people who then say, well, let's find a vulnerable Democrat and try to go after her to try to, you know, dilute the power of what's being said about Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Well, that brings up what I wanted to talk about with Josh, because...
Well, I guess I didn't really need to say anything because, you know, Juan already covered everything. Like, I was going to say those things, but he already said them, which is why I don't need to say it again. But the only thing that you can shit on Ilhan Omar about, the only thing that is like the edge case that you could fucking shit on Ilhan Omar on is the hypnotized language that she used when she was like, Israel hypnotized America or the world or whatever the fuck she said a very long time ago. That is, again, like nothing in comparison to what Marjorie Taylor Greene has said a long ass fucking time ago. That's not the reason why they're shitting on her. The reason why they're shitting on her is because she has criticized Israel now, and they actually, there is more you can shit on Ilhan Omar over. She said she said Thatcher was her female icon. That was pretty bad, but that's not something that these dipshits would ever get upset about at all. That's normal stuff that, you know, every fucking Democrat and Republican says. She did say that. She said Thatcher was a girl boss. She sucks at Among Us? No, she doesn't. She was really good at fucking murdering people at Among Us. Was that a joke? What? No, that wasn't a joke. She didn't say Thatcher was a girl boss, but she said something like, she said something along the lines of like Thatcher was her like icon or idol or something like that. Anyway, Ilhan Omar is one of the, in my opinion, one of the greatest congresspersons in contemporary American politics. I love her. I think she's awesome. She's my favorite politician, that's for sure. I like her more than AOC even. I think she's awesome. She's great. She is very fucking brave, okay? For being able to do what she does, she is literally fucking brave. You can call me a simp all you want, but this person is at the crosshairs of the Democratic Party. She's at the crosshairs of the Republican Party all the time. And the Democrats are gigantic pieces of shit for constantly throwing her under the bus, or at least lighting the fire over and over again, allowing Republicans to even use this as a line of attack to be like, yeah, Ilhan Omar is anti-Semitic, actually. That's true. She is anti-Semitic. Like, fuck you. You guys are all pieces of shit for not defending her. I have tremendous fucking respect for her. I think she is brilliant. I think she's great. She is a much-needed voice, and that's all I gotta fucking say. And yeah, I am very much on the Ilhan Omar Defense Brigade. One of the funniest arguments was when she talked about AIPAC and the power that AIPAC holds, like the power of influence AIPAC wields over the American Congress. And everyone was like, that's so anti-Semitic. It's literally a fucking lobbying firm that's not anti-Semitic. Criticizing Israel is not saying Jews are bad, okay? And beyond that, criticizing AIPAC, which is a special interest lobbying group for Israel, for American Israelis, but operates at the behest of Israel, that has literally fucking curbed back American free speech laws in the most significant and most unconstitutional way possible, successfully, by the way, by making teachers and shit sign like BDS forms before they can get a job. Saying that is a powerful lobby is anti-Semitism is psychotic. Especially considering the fact that Israel's most staunch defenders in this country are not American Jews, with the exception of some very powerful and very wealthy American Jews. Haim Saban on the Democratic side, Sheldon Adelson, rest in piss, on the Republican side. With the exception of some people, American Jews are conflicted on Israel. They are not fully on board with Israel. It's actually the fucking white evangelical Protestants that love Israel and like zealots decide that Israel can never do anything bad, and actually they should continue killing Palestinians. So, I feel like hypnotizing the world is a pretty accurate statement. Is it wrong because anti-Semitic people can feel emboldened by this rhetoric? Hypnotizing is definitely a fucking callback to, I mean, dude, like, Jews can do hypnosis and shit like that is regular anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. Sorry, that's just the truth. Okay? Like, that has been, I've talked about conspiracy theories and how anti-Semitism is rooted within the heart of most conspiracies before. Like, literally fucking, it is a very common conspiracy theory. It is a very common fascist talking point. Like, you know, Jewish curse, Jewish hypnosis, they are dog whistles for sure. You're stretching, bro. Israel's definitely hypnotized the world. If you live on no trust to both sides of this shit. Man, I criticize fucking Israel all the goddamn time. What the fuck are you talking about? I'm simply stating that using, dude, I can't even fucking say using hypnotizing was a bad fucking, bad way to talk about that. No, it's not. It is literally a bad way to talk about it. But outside of that, you can't attack her on anything. It's fucking bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. Unless she means Gal Gadot, who has hypnotized me into believing that she should be the leading actress in movies, regardless of her limited range. Yeah. You substitute hypnotize to manipulate, and boom, it's done. You fix that problem. That is some OG anti-Jew, anti-Roma shit. Yup. For sure. 100%. So, look, dude, guys, I am unfortunately too well-versed in conspiracy theories. So when I hear something like that, I'm like, that you could say that that's anti-Semitic for sure. Regardless, though, it doesn't matter because, again, it's just fucking bullshit. The rest of it is bullshit. The rest of it is a massive stretch, and Democrats engaged in that, by the way. Like, Democrats actually fucking engaged in this witch hunt against Ilhan Omar. So, didn't she say she didn't know hypnotism was linked with anti-Semitism? She did. She did say that. I'm stating that, like, even though she did apologize for it, that is like the only thing that you could ever fucking criticize her for her usage of the word hypnosis because of its fucking anti-Semitic dog whistle, basically. But she herself is ESL. That could have been part of the reason. But again, she fucking apologized for it. Doesn't mean literally hypnosis. She means manipulated. And regardless of that, I'm still 100% on board and defending her. English is her third, fourth language. Yeah, it's not even fucking second language. Most people don't even know that, though. Most people don't think that's the fucking anti-Semitism. Most people think she's just anti-Semitic because she has a fucking hijab and she's brown and she's Muslim. Okay? That's the reality. I'm sorry. That's literally the fucking reality. Most people just think, oh, you're Muslim. You must be anti-Semitic. You must hate Jews. No one, and absolutely no one fucking ever says criticizing Saudi Arabia is criticizing Islam, okay? And they shouldn't say that. I criticize Saudi Arabia all the goddamn time. Not a single person has ever come up to me and been like, dude, I can't believe how fucking Islamophobic you are. But as soon as you fucking criticize Israel, okay? Oh, dude, you must be anti-Semitic. Why are you being anti-Semitic? Fucking bullshit, okay? It is an used and abused fucking defense mechanism for anyone who dare criticize the IDF. Israelis themselves do not, there are Israelis themselves who do not like what the fuck Bibi Netanyahu is doing. Plenty of them don't like it. There are American Jews who are definitely not on board with what Israel is doing to Palestinians. They don't like it. It's fucking bullshit. Literally linking fucking every action that Israel takes, no matter how violent, to the international Jewish community is psychotic. And it's fucking bullshit. And it's the number one line of defense. And it's the number one way to just like abolish leftists from every fucking conversation. Ironic that I'm wearing the Jezza shirt today as I talk about this, because that was literally how they fucking railed on Jezza. And if you want to understand that reactionary right-wing conservatives do not give a single fuck about Israel or anything like that, and specifically use this as an attack point against the left or whoever the fuck they've declared to be bad, Jeremy Corbyn's story is perfect. The entire reactionary news apparatus in the UK literally cumstered and dumpstered Jeremy Corbyn and basically handicapped him into not being able to talk about anything else. This is the only thing that they talked about during the election cycle. And meanwhile, while that was fucking happening to Jeremy Corbyn, well, everyone was like, oh, dude, you're anti-Semitic. Like, can you please respond to the anti-Semitism accusations? On the other side, the fucking Tories were like building Nancy Astor statues. Okay? Like literally, a woman who has said Hitler had some good ideas about the Jews was getting a statue, while the entire right-wing media, or not the entire right-wing media, the entire British media was shitting on Jeremy Corbyn. It's fucking bullshit. Okay? Anyway. So. Thoughts on BDS being labeled anti-Semitic? No, it's bullshit. Yeah, it's and BDS originally was against the South African apartheid. By the way, Israel is an apartheid state. Sorry, that's the truth. Yeah, a survey came out where 40% of British Jews would have seriously considered fleeing Britain if he was the new prime minister. That's how absolutely deranged that media cycle was. Yeah, I know. I remember. I was there. I was covering it. The irony is, yes, the people that did that report on labor anti-Semitism refused to do a report on the Tory Islamophobia. But my favorite report from that group, by the way, was, get ready for this, universities in Scotland and Ireland, are they too Anglophobic?
Alex Jones
that group. And this shows you how fucking insanely conservative they are. They literally wrote a report on how Scottish and Irish universities, and I think universities in the Wales, Welsh universities were too negative towards the British, or too negative towards the English. If anything, they weren't Anglophobic enough, bruv. It's true. They literally fucking, like, it is just, conservatives are the same everywhere, guys. That's the point, okay? Conservatives are the fucking same everywhere on the planet, no matter where you go. That is like textbook Republican Party shit, dude. Textbook. Stop lying. All the Muslims are anti-Semitic, and you know that, LMAO. Stop capping. All the Muslims are anti-Semitic. Everybody knows that. You just lie. I'm a Turk myself, and I know it, and you know it too. It's in their culture, in their religion. It does not have anything to do with Israel. Muslims love to conquer, but when they get conquered, they start crying, and lefties kill themselves to protect them. Don't lie to yourself. Wow, this guy seems like a real... Young Dagger Dick seems like a real Turkish Muslim, huh? Bro, you are capping. I'm a Turkish Muslim, bro. I know. Wow, I'm going to ban him because he outed me. Yeah. Fucking. Oh, Jesus Christ, dude. It's so great. Again, conservatives, the same everywhere, okay? It's great. Conservatives love to talk about like how the Democrats want to do one world order. They want a fucking communist one world government. And then they literally operate in the exact same way. Like they have a hive mind. And again, acting like you are the person, acting like you're from the identity of the fucking group of individuals is like textbook conservatism. Oh yeah, I'm a gay black man, and I don't think that I don't think it's bad to say the N word or the F word. I like it. I like it a lot. As a gay black man, I think it's bullshit that people are saying it's actually homophobic if you don't say the F word and the N word. It's racist. Okay, brother. Thank you. Yeah. HasanAbi. I'm actually a black man, a black man, and racism died when Obama was president, and he's Kenyan. So, and he was born in the United States. We did that for, I'm black, but as a fellow black, we all know Obama was from Kenya. Oh, Jesus Christ. All right, let's keep
Marjorie
going.
Taylor Greene responded to McConnell saying that by tweeting this, that the real cancer for the Republican Party is weak Republicans who only know how to lose gracefully. This is why we are losing our country. How do you see it, Josh?
Yeah, it's so absurd, Dana. I have a hard time wrapping my mind around it. I mean, the things that this woman has said over the last 2 years while she's been campaigning, let alone beyond that, go way beyond the pale. But to respond to what Juan was saying, I think the difference between Republicans and Democrats in Congress is...
Why do you defend right-wing religions? Because religion isn't fucking inherently right-wing, dipshit. It is the fucking right-wing assholes or conservatives that make religion into a weapon for the conservative movement. Absolutely zero people, when faced with the religious scripture, absolutely zero people think religion is supposed to be about, like, unless you're like a r/atheism guy. Zero people think like religion is supposed to be all about supply side Jesus and the economic lessons that supply side Jesus taught us about how curing the lepers was actually a conversation about the importance of making sure that your private insurer was able to take as much money off the top as possible as the middleman. Like that's not how that fucking works. Like, you got the most anti-capitalist brown motherfucker who was a hippie, who was literally fucking curing poor people for free and shit, and Christians all around the world in positions of power make it seem like Jesus was literally fucking pro-capitalism. You know what I mean? It's bullshit. Religion has good lessons in it and bad lessons in it. It's just what you make it. I have this conversation every fucking time. Religion has been used. Christianity was used to justify slavery. Christianity was also at the forefront of the abolition movement. Christianity has been justified. Christianity has been used to justify the oppression of black people. Martin Luther King was a fucking reverend. Stop alienating billions of people for believing some shit that I don't even fucking believe in either. But they believe in it. They believe in it super fucking hard. They think it's their entire world. Okay? You believe in psychotic nonsense as well, my friend. That's just the truth. You just don't recognize it as being psychotic. We all have dogmatic thoughts about or dogmatic beliefs on certain issues. Most of you think capitalism is the greatest economic organization that the world has ever seen and no other way to live. You believe in the capitalism dogma. Are you religious? No, man. No, of course I'm not fucking religious, dude. What are you talking about?
I just got here and he's already stunned.
Is that when extremism threatens to define their party, you've watched time and again Republicans step forward and say, no, thank you, we'll define ourselves. And that goes all the way back to Congressman McCarthy talking about Steve King. If you remember on the racist comments he had, McCarthy moved very quickly to strip him of his committee assignments. They are considering doing the same thing with Marjorie Taylor Greene. Conversely, you watch Nancy Pelosi do absolutely nothing about Ilhan Omar, and in fact embrace her and put her on plum committee assignments. So look, I think extremism can go on both sides. I think the vast majority of Americans would agree with that, but there's only really one party that's taking acknowledgement of it.
How about that, Juan?
Well, I think we have to define what we consider to be extremism. I think attacks on Israel that are unfounded are political. I don't know that I would say they're extreme. I think threatening...
Wait for it. Build up for it. Anti-Semitism incoming. Are you ready? Juan, are you anti-Semitic? Why do you think it's okay to criticize Israel this way? He's not going to say criticize Israel. He's going to say, why do you want every Jew living on Palestinian Israeli soil to fucking get eviscerated, Juan? Because you must feel that way.
Well, a lot of people take it to be anti-Semitic, as you know.
Well, we can agree on that if you want, but I'm just saying it's not shooting somebody in the head. It's not suggesting that somehow the Jewish community was involved in paying for a laser to start the wildfires in California. To me, that is something that is disinformation, and it tears again at the fabric of the society. We can have arguments over Israel, and we can even say that we think some of them are anti-Semitic, and we can have repercussions, and I think there are justified repercussions for anti-Semitic statements.
But let's be clear.
By the way, the other part of this that I don't mention enough, unfortunately, is that part of the reason why people get very, very skeptical or very, very worried as soon as you hear about criticisms of Israel is because a lot of fucking actual fascists a lot of actual fascists will couch their hatred of Jews and their hatred of Jewish people, their anti-Semitism, in legitimate criticisms of Israel. So, and one way to figure out whether someone's a fascist or not is a denial of the Holocaust, right? Like, that's because fascists fucking hate Jews for the most part. Even if they hate Jews privately, they publicly might love Israel. Viktor Orban is a great example of this. But again, like Nazis and fascists, they deny the Holocaust. They say, oh, I'm just criticizing Israel. That's why you got people like fucking Nicholas Fuentes, for example, that shit on Israel routinely. But also, they're, on top of that, they're like literally fucking fascists. Like, they don't give a shit. They don't actually care. They don't care about Israel doing acts of unspeakable acts of violence against the Palestinians, which they unfortunately have sovereignty over. They fucking care about it because they hate the Jews. One way to recognize that is by asking them what their opinions are on Islam or Muslims in general. Okay? But that's part of the reason why some people are worried as soon as they hear someone be critical of Israel or whatever. And they assume, like, wait a minute, is this person fucking anti-Semitic?
What she's doing is of a whole different kettle of fish.
One might be weird and kooky, Josh. The other is seen as racist.
Yeah, but we're talking about just whataboutism, right? How about all of it go? I mean, I don't understand why it is that we have to look at...
Wait, but you're literally defending the whataboutism. What the fuck? Wait, what? Jews are a race? Jews literally, like, Jews are closer to a fucking race than any other religion. We always say, like, oh, you're being racist when we talk about Muslims. And people are like, well, that's fucking a belief. That's like it's an ethnicity. Like, there's different ethnicities within the Jewish religion. But as far as like, cultural background, actually, it's not a race, but Jews have different ethnic backgrounds internationally. You have Sephardic Jews. You have, wait, what the fuck was the other one? There's like three. There's like three main ethnic groups. Ashkenazism, yes. Ashkenazism, sorry. Sephardism and Mizrahi. So again, you can totally be fucking racist towards Jewish people. You can totally be racist towards fucking Muslim people in a similar way. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, and people do that all the time. There is this like notion that like, Jewish people are not a race. Shut the fuck up. Like, dude, yeah, but it's the same as fucking how people say Islam is not a race, and therefore you can be Islamophobic and it's not racist. You're just criticizing religion. And then whenever Islamophobic people are fucking angry, they go out and kill Sikh people. Not like ill, I mean sick. Why? Because they look Muslim. You understand? It is ethnicity. It is ethnicity. Not a race, but racialized and put in proximity to blackness is similar to Muslims, as you said. Yes. Racialized.
At one side or the other and put our jerseys on and understand that, like, okay, I got to defend the indefensible here because they wear, you know, a Republican shirt. No, thank you. Marjorie Taylor Greene, no, thank you. Ilhan Omar, no, thank you. Let's call it a day.
Let me get in here on another topic.
Let's not fucking call it a day, dipshit. What the fuck do you mean, dude? Let's call it a day. Come on, let's get one. One for one. Blood for the blood god.
And that is the idea that people are trying to figure out, coming up with some ideas to deal with disinformation. One of them would be, this is from the New York Times, how the Biden administration can help solve our reality crisis by creating some sort of reality czar. It was just an idea he put forward, but here's what Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez had to say about it.
There's absolutely a commission that's being discussed. We're going to have to figure out how we rein in our media environment so that you can't just spew disinformation and misinformation.
Yo, that's terrifying, dude. I'm sorry. I'm not on board with that at all. Fuck. It's needed, but also at the same time, I'm legitimately fucking scared of that, dude. I don't want the fucking American government to decide what's true and what's not fucking true. That's crazy. That's terrifying. Then Ilhan Omar will go to jail. Okay, I will go to jail.
So she said that earlier this month, Juan. What's your take on it? You love free speech.
I do, but I also realize we're in an era of social media where lots of disinformation, just pure distortion, is allowed, and I think it is, it's hurting our political discourse to the point it's hard to have an honest discussion without people on the extremes. And, I just want to say thank you to Josh, because I think we don't need to put on red and blue uniforms to say when we're dealing with lies and things that have add no value to real discussion and attempts to solve real problems in our country, we all need to come together and say, stop it.
We'll leave it on that.
I'm worried about that for sure, because whenever there's any sort of rollback on free speech, it's the fucking left that gets owned about it. It's the left that gets owned in that circumstance.
I can't believe I have been on this ride for 15 months.
You kind of shit on her for it, but Angela Merkel is right on that front. Who decides then corporations is a gray issue? I think having hate speech restrictions is not a bad thing. It goes against the First Amendment, or I guess it's a reinterpretation of the First Amendment. I don't have a disagreement on that front. But having the government decide what is truthful and what's not truthful, and like what they will do on top of that, I feel like is a little bit worrisome. Not even a little bit, a lot worrisome actually. Hate speech restrictions similar to what they have in European countries is not the end of the world. It's not a bad thing overall. It still doesn't stop Nazism, okay? Like, that's the problem, is that, like, fascism still grows.
Hassel has buff, Hassel has buff, Hassel.
How about standards for the things to use word news reporting or everything else explicitly state that they're entertainment? What are you supposed to do in the even another of they stole the election disinformation campaign on MSM? I think holding platforms accountable is unironically important in that situation. I don't know. I have to think about it further. Because like the reason the way that this comes through, brain dead take, it's 100% a lib policy that doesn't do jack shit good. The issue is, like, media companies have terms of service, but they don't fucking follow through on the terms of service. They never do. They never restrict hate speech. I mean, guys, Mark Zuckerberg literally fucking said openly, you can deny the Holocaust on my platform and I won't ban you. They only recently changed that rule. Okay? And I don't know. Well, I know how to solve it, but the problem is solving this issue is going to take a fuckload of manpower and a lot of time. These are growing pains that we're experiencing, as internet is still a relatively new technology, okay? This kind of freedom of being able to reach to billions of people if you want to, if you are lucky enough, or if you've worked hard enough, is a relatively new thing. There is now unlimited access to all kinds of information out there. Some of it is good, some of it is bad, okay? The most significant way you can combat it is by educating people, teaching media literacy, teaching critical thinking, not fucking defunding our public schools over and over again, and reappropriating those funds to private institutions and charter schools and shit like that. But again, that takes a long ass time. A statistic on from Italy that 4% Italians denied the Holocaust in 2004 and 15% denied it in 2020. Disinformation is based on the intent to mislead, while misinformation is usually accidental. The potential law should make that clear. It's all about intent. Yeah, that's one way, I guess, but again, who decides what's truthful and what's not? What's your take on Germany's hate speech laws? Good. That's not a problem. It's not a... I don't have a problem with Germany's hate speech laws. It's also not a fucking solution, though, as you see what is going on with the AfD's resurgence or rise of influence in Germany. They just look for other ways around it, right? It becomes a game. But the real reason why that's occurring is still the underlying material conditions, the socioeconomic situation that working class Germans are subjected to that makes them ripe to be radicalized. What is the solution to hate speech? Just curious, Puggo. What? I already just told you. It's not easy. I'm German. Sorry, you don't have a clue about Germany. How much money do you get for every ad break? How the fuck can you remember things so good? You so racist. You so racist. Huh.
PugChamp mega cringe.
Tell me, my friend, what's up? What's up with the AfDs? Are they good? Are they good or are they bad? You wanna clarify? They probably are German, but they can still be, no, they horrible dickheads, but they shrinking. So their growth originally wasn't a consequence of reactionary politics taking root in Germany, misinformation, regardless of German disinfo laws that are set in place, as the working class gets agitated from austerity measures, and you see an influx of immigrants coming into the country, and all of a sudden, even a country like Germany, whose fucking entire economy is what it is right now as a consequence of actual Muslim immigration, ironically, Turkish immigration, at a pivotal moment, is now anti-immigrant. They're anti-immigrant now because they think immigrants are the same shit that conservatives believe in America. They're taking our jobs. They don't believe in the culture. They don't want to integrate, blah, blah, blah, all this other shit. And part of the reason why people get so caught up in these sorts of narratives is because of the austerity measures that they implement. Same with like Sweden. Ironically, yes. Okay, I don't know what the fuck you're saying. Now you're agreeing with me.
Hello,
well, I guess I do know what I'm talking
the
about.
Stream and education you give us, Sindake has buff. My bidet had really high water pressure and... Well, am I gay now?
Anyway. Okay. Senator Manchin calls for bipartisanship on the COVID relief plan. Let's move on.
Democratic Senator Joe Manchin believes the stimulus needs to be more targeted, and he joins us now from the Capitol. Senator Manchin, great to have you.
Oh, the House committee is live deciding the fate of Marjorie Taylor Greene and removing her from Congress in this unprecedented move.
That's the point I'm making. I'm not, don't misunderstand what I'm saying to defend the indefensible, because I think these comments are indefensible.
8
I
months
just think
later,
there's a different and better way to proceed here, and that's the subject of my remarks. So I know my friend would understand that, but I just wanted to be clear for the record. With that, Mr. Chairman, I'll yield
It's not
back.
from Congress, sorry. It's just from committees.
Very much. And again, I mean, we can go down these rabbit holes of
Okay, I don't want to talk. I don't want to watch this sleeper right now.
With
Let's
us,
keep going.
so you're the man of the hour here. Good. What's it going to be? Is this going to be closer to $2 trillion in this package?
The funniest thing about Joe Manchin is that he always looks confused. Like, he always seems to be in a state of shock. Okay? Like, there's a look on his eyes. This is not a good pause screen for it, but it's always like, I don't know what's going on. He just has this like weird nervous look on his eyes every fucking day.
Package, or is it going to end up being more targeted?
Mika, the worst thing we can do is put a price tag on it. We have to get what the needs of the people are, and basically how we keep the economy going, how we keep people basically ready for this economy to come roaring back, and they're prepared to be part of it. So if it's 1.9 trillion, so be it. If it's a little smaller than that, and we find a targeted need, and that's what we're going to do. But I want it to be bipartisan. So if they think that they're going to we're going to throw all caution to the wind and just shove it down people's throat, that's not going to happen. Chuck Schumer said yesterday on the floor, he said, this is going to be a bipartisan process. We encourage a bipartisan process. That means Democrats and Republicans will have amendments. We have many opportunities to make the necessary changes and make your point. And that's what it's about. The process needs to work.
Okay. You don't think the minimum wage increase should be attached to this?
I don't.
And you also don't think it should be $15 an hour, where you and I are going to strongly disagree. But explain, if you could.
I sure will. Thank you, Mika. First of all, it doesn't fit within the Byrd rule. Okay, it has to be within budgetary items. That's not in a budget item, but the parliamentarian will rule on that. And you said, well, you don't agree. The bottom line is, I believe that anybody that goes to work in the morning, works a 40-hour week, works a 2,000-hour year, a work year, that's 2 weeks off, basically they should be above the minimum wage as far as with the poverty guidelines. That would be $10.86. And I just said, don't you think it's reasonable for it to have a flat rate of $11 and then index it from there? The larger states that have higher costs and things, they're already at 15.
Dude, the irony is, like, if there's one state that benefits from fucking a $15 minimum wage increase, is literally West Virginia. Like, god damn, what a fucking demon, dude. The irony, of course, is that they say shit like this when, again, it doesn't fucking matter, because states will be able to readjust certain states will be able to readjust. It's not immediate. It's not an immediate price hike. You can literally cap it for businesses and like small businesses that will have a separate price hike, separate wage hike in comparison to big businesses that exist in West Virginia. But that's not the reason why he's arguing from this point of view. And by the way, even fucking neoliberals are on board with this. Like, head Twitter neoliberal No Opinion is on board with fucking $15 minimum wage.
9
like,
months, Pog.
it's so fucking stupid, dude. It's ridiculous. He is just trying to throw wrenches at the problem as best as he can. Joe Manchin party switch when? No, that's not good. That's not good for Joe Manchin to fucking switch parties. They're voting on removing Marjorie Taylor Greene live?
Caused by this mass.
They're not right now. Okay, anyway. Can you provide small business with a tax credit to offset the increase in minimum wage? Well, those motherfuckers are not going to fucking... they're not going to use that tax credit to offset the costs of the wage increase anyway. There are ways that you can do it, though, for sure. How come when we say 15 minimum wage, we don't mention it goes to 15 right away and raises slowly every year by $1? The minimum wage shall not be asked for small business? No, that's not. No, it should be asked for small businesses as well.
Is he talking index by region or index with inflation rate?
No, he's talking in... No. My guy, conservatives don't advocate to fucking index minimum wage by inflation. They only talk about lowering the fucking minimum wage price by saying like, oh, we got to make it lower for different regions. And people immediately fucking rush to talk about how, well, what about West Virginia? What works in California can't work in West Virginia. Bitch, California's already going to hit $15 minimum wage. There's places that already have $15 minimum wage right now. Okay? There's places that have higher minimum wage in this country than the $7.25. Minimum wage increases at the federal level will allow workers to be able to advocate for a higher, or not workers, is there's no way to fucking organize labor in a meaningful way, unfortunately. But it will allow organizations beyond labor unions and even labor unions in the form that they currently exist to be able to fucking push for an even larger increase in their prices. Okay? And again, even the Congressional Budget Office, whose estimates are very conservative, shows that despite the fact that some job loss may occur, okay, as a consequence of the minimum wage increase, which there isn't enough evidence on regardless, okay, that more than 2 million people will be lifted out of poverty. Do you understand? That is gigantic. That's a huge fucking deal. Yeah, conservatives always love to say a rising tide lifts all boats. This is literally a rising tide that would lift all boats. Coal miners here are convinced they're making bank at $18 an hour, not worth risking your life if minimum wage is almost the same. Again, that's so stupid, because if the minimum wage is increased at the federal level to $15, now coal miners can say, well, we're fucking risking our lives. We want $20. That's it. And the real losers in the minimum wage argument are not the fucking workers themselves. The real losers in this argument are the fucking small business owners, or big business owners, really, if you will, the large business owners who could technically pay for that minimum wage right now, but aren't doing so. And they're never going to do it unless the government literally makes it illegal not to. Okay? I make $100 an hour in a labor union. Well, that must mean you're not a worker, brother. If you make $100 an hour that your labor union fought for you and those wages, you get a greater percentage of the profits that you generate for your company. That means you're no longer a worker, brother. That's how it works. I'm very smart, by the way. You're not a worker now, bitch. This is actually a fucking argument people make. It's just great. Wouldn't average Joe Andy just want to work at big businesses then? Why wouldn't they stay working at small businesses? Sorry, genuinely asking. Because one, small businesses are not going to get fucking evaporated as a consequence of the minimum wage price hikes, okay? And two, they could literally do that right now. Why don't they do it? It's so dumb, right? It's a dumb question to ask. Why do you still work? Why do you still work for the company that you work at? Why don't you go to a much larger company? I don't know. Are they asking? Are they going to give me more money? Is that what's happening right now? It is unfathomable to question how things are currently. It is so insane. We are so far removed. We are so far removed from ever demanding a larger share of the profits from bosses that, like, workers themselves argue and bicker endlessly about increasing the fucking minimum wage, which will ultimately be good for them. Okay? Like, none of you, for the most part, statistically speaking, are fucking small business owners who employ like 3 or 4 people and are at the fucking verge of profitability, and you are no longer going to be able to hire as many people if the minimum wage increase happened tomorrow. And yet you're over here having this fucking argument. And neither is your family either, by the way. My family is bullshit, dude. That's what your dad says, and that's what your dad thinks, but that's not the fucking reality. And again, you can offset some of that price. You can offset some of that cost onto the prices regardless. You can implement a price hike on certain goods. It's not the end of the fucking world. A 20-cent increase goes a long goddamn way. Let me tell you what your reality is, Pepega Clap. Dude, if your business model demands, if your father's business model and if your business model virtually demands you to pay less than a fucking living wage in this country to survive, then why don't you just fucking enslave people too? Why don't you use child labor? Like, this is an idiotic fucking argument. Oh, sorry. Like, I know that my father employs a bunch of people and they're currently making less than fucking a living wage, okay, to pursue a dignified existence, to have a shelter over their fucking heads. That's just the only way that this business can work. Well, okay. Well, I guess your father needs to go back and pick themselves up by their fucking bootstraps and start working. Okay? And this is something that a chatter said, and it's such a fucking good take that I repeat it all the time now, which is the worst thing that can happen to a business owner, a small business owner, is literally having to be relegated back to worker status. That's the hilarity for so many people, is that they hate being a worker so bad that the fear of being a worker prevents them from fucking increasing increasing prices, increasing their wages for their workers. It's wild. Because they themselves recognize, like, well, fuck, man. If there's another boss out there that's going to be exactly like me, that's going to, I would never want to do that. Intrinsically, they understand that being a worker is so much worse than being a fucking a boss. Because when you lose your business, and there is plenty of protective measures for those who do lose their businesses, or there's bailouts, there's a lot of different ways that you can try to turn that around. Not the same for fucking workers, right? Not as many protections are created for workers, but there are certainly a lot for business owners, right? Like, when you lose your business, you don't get fucking executed. You don't go to prison. When you lose your business, that means you have to start back and start working again. And that is the fear that stops people from fucking ever like wanting to do something that might in the short term hurt their profit margin. What the fuck? Oh shit, I got the wrong person, I think. Fuck. Sorry, Darkgate. Oh, Fizz already fucking clapped him. Nice. Jesus Christ. I unbanned them.
It'll be decimated for the little rural areas. But 725 is not absolutely anywhere reasonable whatsoever. It needs to be raised. I just basically use the formula that says, here is what a family of 3 poverty guidelines should be above, and that's where we should have it. And base and start it, and then index it so we never fall below that. It makes a lot of sense. A lot of people think it makes sense, and if we go there, let's have a good conversation. This is not the place to do it.
Okay, so we'll debate the number another day, but should it be attached to this? I mean, if you're willing to compromise, and at the top of this interview you said it doesn't, have to be $2 trillion, it could be 1.9, it could be another number. Can you get other Republicans to join in a compromise?
Oh, most certainly. I think that they're willing to.
No, we can't. No, you can't, bitch. There's no way. And the way to go about it is not this way, okay? Even if you want to force Republicans to compromise, you literally force them to compromise by forcing a uncompromisable position by saying, fuck you, we don't need you. If you want, you can come to our side and argue on our side of the fucking table. But we don't need you. We're going to pass this through budget reconciliation. Here's how you don't fucking compromise, by saying, oh yeah, let's hurt ourselves before we even get to the fucking table to bargain, which is what Democrats have done for so long. And it's so fucking stupid. And that's what Joe Manchin wants to do because he's a fucking idiot.
We've got a good group. We've been working. We trust each other. We have a lot of good conversations. It's grown to 20. We have 10 Republicans, 10 Democrats. It keeps growing. More people want to be involved because they want to get something done. We're there to support leadership. If leadership hits a roadblock and they can't go any further, then basically maybe we can help them a little bit. We did that.
But like, he's literally, it's funny because he's filling bags of sand, okay? He's on his way filling bags of motherfucking, what Biden told Dems in the House, what? Wait, what? What the fuck just happened? Oh, it's mobile. That's why I was like, what? Why is that white? My eyes. Anyways, I was saying, Joe Manchin is literally filling up bags of sand, okay, in the process of like building out a roadblock while simultaneously saying, well, I'm trying to actually avoid roadblocks from happening. It's like, bitch, put the sandbag down then. Why are you literally trying to put a fucking additional hurdle while simultaneously talking about how like, oh, well, we want to avoid hurdles? Well, bitch, don't be a hurdle then.
In December, we were able to break a logjam there. Common sense. No one thought Denver.
If you know anything about Manchin's history, he'll kick up a big fuss and then eventually vote in line anyway. For the big votes, for the inconsequential ones who'll occasionally side with the Republicans for appearance of West Virginians. Well, West Virginians are not on fucking Joe Manchin's side in this circumstance. But yes, you're right. Joe Manchin is going to vote with the Democrats on this. I've said this already. The Democrats are actually doing a good job. Like Kamala Harris going to Arizona and Kamala Harris going to fucking West Virginia and appearing on local television is literally a good thing. That was surprisingly what Bernie Sanders wanted to do as well and said he was going to do if he was the president. They are doing a good job. I cannot believe I'm saying this, but the Democratic leadership so far has done a good fucking job on this. So he can suck my left nut. It doesn't matter what he's saying here. It's just he loves to be at the heart of the story, I guess.
Republicans will go off at 500. They went to 908. So things will happen. And everyone's thinking, well, they offered 600.
I got to pee, but it's top of the hour every hour. It's time for a 6-second ad break right now. This video is going to keep going. If you want an ad-free broadcasting experience, all you need to do is subscribe. Ladies and gentlemen, you already know the deal. You can do it for $5 or for free with the Twitch Prime. I'm going to go pee right now. You can get those primers out. Here's the ad. Here's the video. I got to go
further than that. They know they have to.
Senator Manchin, Willie Geist, good to see you this morning. Do you think it's important? I'm doing all right, thank you. Do you think it's important strategically and for the future of the way you all work together under President Biden that this is a bipartisan bill? Or is it more important to push through and get the money out the door just as quickly as you can, as Chuck Schumer has suggested?
Well, you know, I strongly disagreed going down the path we're going down. I spoke to the
reconciliation.
Reconciliation right now. I thought you should try everything bipartisan. We've done 5 bills before. They were all bipartisan, but over 90 votes, the last 5 last year, which totaled about $4.8 trillion. You put the $900 billion that we just passed, now you're at $5.7 trillion. So we have not been holding back. We've been putting money out there, keeping things really propped up and going. There's still people hurting. There's people hurting with housing. There's people hurting basically because the pandemic is going on longer than what we thought. The vaccines and you know, the breath of fresh air is having President Biden come in and put some direction and some supervision and leadership. It's been wonderful. So we know where we're going now. He said, basically, I don't want to go down the path we went down in 2009 when we negotiated for 8 months and still didn't have a product and had to do what they're doing now. I says, fine, Mr. President, I'm happy to start this process, but I'm not going to bust the bird rule. I'm not going to basically get rid of the filibuster. We are going to work in a bipartisan way. He says, I respect that and I understand. And so we have a great understanding. We know where we're going, and let's see if we can make this bipartisan. Chuck Schumer said it would be, and I believe everybody, and we'll see what happens.
So then, Senator, where is the give if you want it to be bipartisan?
Oh, haha. No, I did not bring a drink back. Boys, I did not bring a drinky back, dude. The drinky. No, I'm still on my coffee part of the day.
And obviously, as you know, you're going to have to negotiate a little bit with at least those 10 Republicans who went and met in the Oval Office a couple of nights ago. Their plan, the $618 billion plan that they presented, is too low for most Democrats. They want to take out the minimum wage hike. They want to take out direct money to states and to cities. So what do you give up to get that bipartisan passage?
Well, the minimum wage hike, I do not believe will fit in there at all. We need a good, robust discussion on this, and like Meek and I were just talking, you've got to find common ground there where we can start so little rural states and rural areas don't get basically...
The funniest part about it is, like, whenever people say, well, nobody factored in, you know, states and, like, state price hikes. First of all, what do you think? Do you think they were just, like, working the Democratic Party that loves means-tested programs? You think the guys who wrote that policy literally didn't consider small businesses in fucking West Virginia? Like, shut the fuck up, idiot. Of course they did. It's ridiculous.
That's for radicalizing.
It's ridiculous to just, like, counter by saying, like, oh yeah, well, we gotta just, like, have a have a separate conversation about the minimum wage. No, the reason why they're saying it,
XQCL.
The reason why they're saying it is because they want to have a separate conversation so they can fucking destroy the $15 minimum wage. That's it.
Decimated by it, and the businesses don't collapse. But on the other hand...
In chat, you guys will never have a high IQ, never will invent anything, will never discover any mathematical theories or beyond. Oh, God.
As buff.
Yikes, dude.
The tip wages for restaurants, it would be decimating for them too. We need to have a good, robust discussion. And the big states, you already have $15 in New York. You have $15 in the more metropolitan areas. So we want to make sure that we don't have those poverty wages at $7. That should never be there. That needs to be robust. But the other place...
Which is why it needs to be $8.
Proud to be part of the educated...
Which is great.
Has buff.
Listen. The minimum wage can't be $7. It needs to be $8, which will greatly improve the living conditions of West Virginians.
3 months watching Love the Stream, Hasan.
There's places that they might not have agreed or not have gotten into discussion with the president. They're willing to sit down and then, let's see where they have an amendment, a reasonable amendment. If they have something zero that gets no votes, then the Democrats vote and we move on. So if they want to be reasonable and want to participate, then we work with them. I just want to make sure that the process is open to both the Democrats and the Republicans, that they're just not jammed, because I've been in the minority when things are jammed, and I can tell you, it's not the way this place is supposed to work.
Yeah. Hey, thanks so much for watching our YouTube.
West Virginians respond to Manchin.
Possible roadblock to more stimulus money coming to your bank account soon.
Democratic Senator Joe Manchin said absolutely not to Joe Biden's call for another stimulus check to get $2,000 to Americans.
I don't understand how you can say that working West Virginians do not need the stimulus, because if this pandemic has taught us anything, it's that what we think is normal is fragile.
The people of West Virginia.
Yo, low key, this family, if this is their house, they are literally West Virginian royalty, okay? West Virginia is not like other places in this country, okay? If your house is not prefabric and it can be easily picked up by a trailer, You are literally West Virginia 1%. So even the fact that they have, one, paved roads, okay? You're literally on the fucking upper crust of West Virginian society. Above ground pool, fancy amenities like that. Okay, so just readjust your worldview.
I don't understand how you can say that working West Virginians do not need the stimulus, because if this pandemic has taught us anything, it's that what we think is normal is fragile.
The people of West Virginia need this stimulus to pay for food, their rent, their car insurance.
The people on top are the ones that get the help, and the people on the bottom are the ones begging for help.
Democratic Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia said that he does not support the $15 an hour minimum.
Which is why Joe Manchin's like anti-poverty rhetoric is way worse for his own constituents. Like that's the other fucking hard reality. When I hear takes against Medicare for all from the likes of Jim Clyburn, for example, I know for a fucking fact that Jim Clyburn is not representing the best interests of his goddamn constituents when he says that. Okay? You think people in South Carolina, in Jim Clyburn's fucking district, don't desperately need Medicare for all? Like, you fucking crazy? And the same goes for Joe Manchin. Okay? The people that rail against social safety nets oftentimes come from areas where those social safety nets would directly benefit their constituents more, which makes their line of attack against social safety nets and against progress all that more disgusting. Okay? Sorry, I know I switched over from fucking Manchin to Clyburn there real quick because I am constantly reminded of Clyburn talking about like Medicare for all is bad. When his district is like one of the poorest in South Carolina, and it's always something that's super fucking triggering to me.
Wage that's in Biden's proposal.
The federal minimum wage in the United States is $7.25, if I'm not mistaken, and that's not enough. That puts people under the poverty line.
If we had $15 an hour for all minimum wage workers, people's lives would change in a big way.
It doesn't work, and different states are different.
My name is Tyler Hughes. I am a student here at Concord University in Athens, West Virginia.
My name is Tanya Spinella. I live in Bluefield, West Virginia. I am a music teacher at Bluefield Middle School.
I'm Tyler Cannon. Right now, I work as a vegetable farmer in Fayette County.
I grew up in McDowell County, one of the poorest counties in the United States. I never had dental coverage growing up. I have 13 cavities and they need to be filled, and that's going to cost between $1,500 and $2,000.
There's a stress that you feel all over your body when you worry whether or not, this next grocery trip, this next shopping trip is going to put you into the negative. That's coming from a teacher, You would think that a teacher would not have to worry about groceries or living paycheck to paycheck. We absolutely do. People do not make enough to live, and that is not acceptable.
A lot of people in my community and in my family make minimum wage, and it's obvious that minimum wage can't support a single person in their own home. About 6 months ago, I was in a near-fatal accident, spent some time in a hospital, and in our country that's not cheap.
My teeth shouldn't suffer because I can't afford to pay for my teeth, and that's what I plan on using the stimulus for.
$2,000, it means everything. For my husband and I, it means a payment, being able to catch up on bills.
An additional stimulus package would mean that I would get one step closer towards relieving myself of my medical debt, which today is fairly considerable, despite having health insurance at the time of my injury. If the new direct payments were made, I'd be able to pay off some of my medical debt and get closer to being able to invest in my farm.
I think that everyone deserves a livable wage. People deserve to be able to pay their bills and not have to work second and third and fourth jobs just to be able to live.
So are you on board, yes or no?
Jake, that's not a yes or no question.
Senator Manchin, if you genuinely believe that we don't need this stimulus. Come to the people of West Virginia, come to McDowell County, and tell our people why we don't need this money.
Senator Manchin, I hope that the messages you hear help you understand that this is what the people of West Virginia need. Talk to us. Hold a town hall.
Senator Manchin, you're in office to represent the needs of West Virginians. This is your opportunity to support the West Virginians who have continued to work through the pandemic and put themselves at risk every day.
Guys, I'm sorry, but you don't understand. Joe Manchin is too busy defending his CEO daughter after her company raised the price of EpiPens. Like, you don't understand. He's got a lot on his fucking agenda, okay? The point of view of poor Appalachians is not of concern for Mr. Joe. Okay? He's being a good dad out there. People elected this fucking guy. Dog, he's the best option of what's available out there, okay? He's the best fucking option. Well, not the best, but like, he's a Democrat. When you get a second, can you check AOC trend on Twitter? I don't know what to think about it. Dude, I will get to that in a little bit. Okay, please stop. Everyone is just like fucking spamming Marjorie Taylor Greene shit. We're not talking about that right now. We're talking about something else. The problem is, yeah, Paula Jean's awesome. Yeah, no. That's true. But unfortunately, these people, like Paula Jean, are Swearingen. They're not getting to the position of prominence that they deserve. Part of it is because labor unions have been eviscerated in West Virginia. It's not necessarily coal jobs leaving. It's the aftermath of that. Because when coal jobs get eviscerated as a consequence of automation, mostly, maybe some environmental regulation too, but when coal mining jobs get eviscerated, labor unions are eviscerated as a consequence of that. So then you have no organizing power. You have no way to get people activated. And that's when that entire region that was once a stronghold for democratic operations turns into the most reactionary shithole you can fucking find. That's precisely what happened in West Virginia. That's precisely what is happening right now and is happening still in Western Pennsylvania. Areas where you had these workers and areas where it's what happened in Ohio. The Rust Belt is experiencing that. Paula Jean rocks. She had a record amount of donors support for her 2020 run, and she still got wiped 33% to 66% to the Republican incumbent. It's fucking insane. I don't understand it. I'm explaining to you what it is. I'm explaining to you the reason for why it happens. Why are people saying Rust? Oh, because I said Rust Belt. What's the solution there? What do unions do when the industry they support are coal/fracking and aren't sustainable? I hate to do a repeat of this over and over again, but you put together a new deal, okay? A new concept that is a jobs program that is focused on renewable energy, a sector that is growing, a sector that is massive. And people always say, like, just learn to code, forehead. And while it is an elitist creed that you hear so much as the motto of, like, out-of-touch dipshits, it's not like fucking coal miners, or it's not like people in Pennsylvania are built or born with a goddamn fracking bone in their body, okay? Like, they aren't genetically predisposed to fracking jobs, and yet they love fracking now when such technology did not exist. Why is it that a person who used to, or a person that comes from like a steel town, right? A person that comes from a fucking steel town now is defending fracking with the same fervor? Because it's a job that was offered to them when they had nothing else. This was the only job that was available, and it also pays fairly fucking well. Why can fracking pay so well? One, because the profit margins are super fucking high to begin with, okay? And two, because the government subsidizes that shit heavily, okay? Without government subsidies that take up 85% of our current energy extraction, 85% of the government subsidies in the field of energy go to fossil fuel jobs. If that balance was flipped over to renewable energy and we focused on more efficient ways, like better batteries and investing heavily in R&D into renewable energy technology, and jobs were available too in a similar capacity to people that are in towns like West Virginian towns that we are looking at, and they were heavily subsidized by the government so that you could actually offer decent fucking pay to these people, then they would become solar advocates. They would become renewable energy advocates. It's just, it's that simple, okay? No one who is poor as fuck is going to say, sorry, brother, I can't work at a fucking renewable energy, like, I can't build solar panels. Sorry, I can't do it. I'm a coal miner, baby. Through and through, I can't do fucking renewable energy. Like, that, it doesn't work that way. Like, you offer people positive incentives. You offer them jobs, they will fucking take it. Just like they take the fracking jobs and become frack daddies, okay? It's not because they are literally genetically predisposed to fracking. It's because fracking is what's available to them. Do you think people in coal mining jobs or even towns will be smart enough to do anything with respect to the renewables other than physically installing solar panels? First of all, if you work a fucking coal job, the limitation, like, retraining programs are oftentimes failures, right? But I'm not saying they're going to become fucking coders, dipshit. I'm saying they are going to build fucking solar panels. Is there no need for builders that would build solar panels? You elitist idiot. Like, if you work in a factory where you build fucking cars, then you can work in a factory where you build solar panels. Okay? I'm not saying, why don't you fucking become a nuclear physicist, coal miner? I'm saying the government can absolutely offer similar fucking jobs with the likes of, with exactly what the Green New Deal describes or outlines, that requires limited retraining. Also, it's deeply fucking condescending too. I live in West Virginia. When you ask a coal miner if they want their child to be a coal miner, they always say no. Then why do they want it still? They are more than capable of retraining. Retraining, unfortunately, retraining, depending on what the vertical is not always a successful endeavor. And that's why, like, the fucking learn the code is met with so much scrutiny and anger. Not just solar, hydroelectric, wind, geothermal. Yes, there's numerous different ways of creating job opportunities in the in renewable energy. It's all about where you invest and how you invest. Also, on top of that, there should still be an offering for it. If people want to fucking learn to code, they should be able to learn to code, by the way. You could have literally said it's IKEA with extra steps. If stupid people couldn't build and fix cars, schools like Lincoln Tech wouldn't exist. Libs say learn to code. Leftists say we will pay you to learn to do hard labor, similar to what you have been doing, but just in a different, more sustainable sector. Wait. What's the fucking alternative, idiot? Of course that's what you're supposed to do. I'm confused as to what you're implying here. Why did you make it seem like learn the code is the exact same as... I don't know. You put the fucking forehead on there, so I don't know if you're like disagreeing with me or not. President Biden tells House Dems it's not in the cards to go $600 billion from $1.9 trillion on COVID relief per person on call. I'm not going to start my administration by breaking a promise to the American people, he said, per source. Good. Oh, God. Oh, God. We're not watching that. We already watched the Biden's inauguration led to mom escaping QAnon. I can't go through another Steven Crowder video, so I'm not going to do that. We already talked about Ilhan Omar. Let's watch Ben Shabibo cry about fucking leftist
policy
unity.
terms. Remember that time that Joe Biden said he was going to be a moderate? Yeah, that was funny. That was funny. Some of us warned you that was not going to happen.
Dude, Ben is physically incapable. Oh, there's an update on the Newsmax thing. Ben is physically incapable of emoting like a human being. It's wild. It's like Cory Booker. Like, just say you're a fucking alien and move on, dude. Like, just say that you are a robot and you literally just can't do it. It makes more sense for you to admit this reality than to try to act like a human being. Ha ha ha ha! I am laughing in a similar way that human beings laugh. Hypothetically, let's say that I was an alien and I only learned how to laugh from watching other human beings do that.
Yeah, that was funny. That's funny. Some of us warned you that was not going to happen. Some of us suggested to the so-called never Trump Republicans that you guys who keep saying Joe Biden is going to be a moderate uniter. Nope. No, he is not. He is simply a facade for the radical left. And what has happened? He is a facade for the radical left. All his administration has done so far is issue more executive orders in the first week of any term than any president in American history. And those executive orders are filled with things like boys should race in girls' sports. And also, we should make sure that racial equity is the basis of all of our policies, meaning racial favoritism based on supposed victimized status by group. So yeah, things are going great. Also, they're going to...
It's just funny because, like, those executive orders are bullshit. I didn't even fucking talk about them that much. And the reason why I didn't talk about them is because it's purely symbolic, okay? Like, and of course, that's the only thing that Ben Shabibo is going to talk about because, you know, that's such a big deal. Like, the policies about, like, we are going to pursue racial equity. It's not a bad policy, but it's not a real policy. It's just an executive order, okay? There's nothing beyond that. Just a statement, a promise that you are going to make. Okay, it's a promise with extra steps. So that in and of itself is already like toothless, right? So for Ben to fucking freak out over a relatively toothless thing is so classic Shabibo. It is remarkable. Just shut the fuck up, snowflake, okay?
Rammed through a $1.9 trillion COVID package that is unnecessary. It is not necessary. What we need right now is temporary help for people who are in need. We don't need more aid that is just thrown out the window to people who have jobs, who are currently working. We also don't need people to be paid more than they were making when they were actually working. That is not something that we require right now.
In the year 2020, bankruptcies filed in the year 2020. Bankruptcies filed decreased by 29%. The first month of COVID, where 60 million people lost their jobs, the peak of COVID, was also a month where the poverty rate got lower. The only reason why we were able to have any form of economic recovery was because the working poor actually had money. Okay? The argument isn't we shouldn't pay non-workers more than workers. The argument is we should pay workers more.
And yet that is exactly what is being proposed by Joe Biden. He's also proposing a raise to $15 minimum wage, which makes no sense federally because it turns out the states have widely variant styles of living. $15 goes a long way in Mississippi. It doesn't go halfway in New York. The idea of a federal minimum wage is...
Wait, Ben Shabibo wants to increase minimum wage in New York to... Wait, what? Is he saying he wants to increase minimum wage to fucking $30? And wait, that's crazy. Also... Again, motherfucker, you just moved to Nashville, okay? Which is still pretty expensive in comparison to the rest of Tennessee. But no, $15 doesn't go a fucking long way in any part of this goddamn country. I'm sorry. People say $15 goes a long way in this part of the country, that part of the country. No, it doesn't, okay? It literally doesn't. Just because people currently are barely making ends meet with like $7 does not mean that they should continue to do so. Oh, you can just survive on that, so I don't understand. Why don't you just work for just shelter over your forehead? You know, just work for shelter. I mean, you're surviving. We'll give you slop every day, okay? You'll just work for the company. Just engage in a feudal agreement. You're surviving on that. It's bullshit. That's how prisons work, lol. I know. It's also feudalism. Yeah, we'll instead of paying you, we'll pay you back in company credit.
Idiocy on its face, especially when it's raised to some exorbitant level that is greater than like 1/3 of all the wage earners in a particular state. In any case, Democrats, they could have come up with a compromise deal here. In fact, 10 Republicans headed on over to the White House to talk with Joe Biden.
Ben Shapiro wants to abolish the minimum wage. So I don't know what he's saying here. Like why is he acting like he's on board with like a compromise? I'm confused. Like he constantly talks about how there's no minimum wage in places like in Scandinavian countries. Of course, he leaves out incredibly significant details from that argument, which is, you know, labor contracts. Collective bargaining agreements and how much of the labor force it encompasses, which is nearly the entire labor sector or entire labor force. But you know, he constantly talks about how great it would be if there was no minimum wage. So it's kind of weird that he's like even acting like he would be on board with like a compromise on the current minimum wage conversation.
Democrats headed on over. Democrats were meeting with Republicans. It was all supposed to be happy bipartisanship. Susan Collins led the way, the senator from Maine, and she was super happy to talk with Joe Biden.
It was a very good exchange of views. I wouldn't say that we came together on a package tonight. No one expected that in a 2-hour meeting. But what we did agree to do is to follow up and talk further. I think it was an excellent meeting, and we're very appreciative that as his first official meeting in the Oval Office, the president chose to spend so much time with us.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm glad that Susan Collins is feeling super flattered by spending time with Joe Biden. I mean, like, that's the best. It's when they spend time and they play, like, D&D, and it's just fantastic, right? They sit there, they play board games, they have a cup of tea. Meanwhile, Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer are just going to ram through this bill. They're just going to ram it through. According to the Daily Wire, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and House Speaker Nancy...
God, he's such a loser, dude. I mean, this is worth it. I mean, I know Joe Biden... I know Joe Biden is going to be a disappointment in the long run, or hopefully I am wrong on that. I have been wrong so far, but God, it kind of, for a brief moment, I watched these insufferable pricks get so mad that they do not maintain majority in the Senate. And that makes me so fucking happy, dude. It is great. It is great, dude. Hey, guess what, bitch? You don't have majority. So here's a thing you could have done. It's called winning elections. When you do that, you get to rule over the country in whatever way you want to, which sucks because Democrats are still the majority, and yet in the popular vote, of course, and yet they still end up losing elections in both the Senate and also in the Electoral College, of course. So, fuck, dude. Fuck, it makes my pee-pee hard watching them get so mad. It's like, why are they not compromising with us? Where was that? Where was that? Where was the compromise? Where was the C word? When we were ramming through gigantic taxes of the wealthy and corporations, where was that compromise? That didn't happen. So, you know. So how about you shut the fuck up, bitch, and take it? Oof, it's great. This is great. He's just upset. He's mad that, like, the Democrats who conservatives have, like, tried to get murdered and shit are not compromising with those very same conservatives. Crazy.
Nancy Pelosi introduced a joint resolution on Monday afternoon that will allow them to pass President Joe Biden's coronavirus stimulus package without needing support from the Republican Party. Introduction of a joint budget resolution is the first step to potentially enacting a budget reconciliation bill, one legislative tool available to Congress to quickly pass bipartisan COVID relief legislation, said a joint statement from the two Democratic leaders. The resolution outlines the reconciliation instructions for each House and Senate committee or how much funding can be spent in their jurisdictions. Congress has the responsibility to quickly deliver immediate comprehensive relief to the American people hurting from COVID-19. The cost of inaction is high and growing. The time for decisive action is now. Remember, it was Democrats who were holding this thing up while Trump was president. And they were holding it up before the election for months, even though there was a bipartisan deal in place. They rejected a big bipartisan deal in order to literally hold it up until after the election. Nancy Pelosi admitted that. But now is the time to make sure this gets done, and we're just going to ram this thing through. So while Susan Collins is doing happy talk with Joe Biden, Jen Psaki, the White House press secretary, is like, yeah, I'm glad they came over, and yeah, we had some fun, and it was pretty great. We played Rummy Cube, but also we're not going to do anything they want. We're just going to do exactly what we want to do.
This is an opportunity to exchange ideas, to have a conversation. That's why he invited them over here to the White House. There are some real impacts, which he will certainly reiterate, as he has publicly and privately in many conversations. But they've put forward some ideas. He's happy to hear from them. But he's also feels strongly about the need to make sure the size of the package meets this moment and feels the American people expect that of their elected officials as well.
So in other words, I'm glad they showed up. Good to see them. Also, we're just going to completely ignore everything that they just had to say. Super bipartisanship happening right there. And it's like The Simpsons. Set that clock back to 0. Days since we broke bipartisanship. Right? Set that clock back to 0.
Oh. Boys, this is music to my ear, dude. This is good. This is good. I really... so good. I really do... I really do enjoy the sweet, sweet music making of Ben Shabibo's whiny little tone crying about having no bipartisanship, which, by the way, bipartisanship, what is that in this circumstance? It's, lowering the amount of relief that the American working class is going to get. Just remember, when Ben Shapiro says, like, why can't we have bipartisanship here? He's literally talking about how, like, the American working class does not deserve $1,400. Like, they shouldn't get that. So we should get together and decide to lower that. Well, guess what, bitch? And I can't believe I'm saying this again. In the words of Joe Biden's chief of staff. I forget whoever said that yesterday. Unity does not mean uniting with the Republicans. Unity means uniting the American people. And the American people are certainly united on those fucking, on those sweet, sweet 2K checks, baby. Yeah, it was Klain. Yeah, it was Ron Klain who said, unity means doing what American people want, not what the Republican Party wants. And it's true. Ooh, it's so fucking good. I hope this stays. I hope this stays. You get a couple quick dubs like this, you reignite some kind of you reinstill some kind of feeling of entitlement that American people should have in their government. You expect them to expect more from their government. All of a sudden, dude, there's a change in attitude, and I want that. I want that really bad. We need that.
It was at like not even a day, and setting it back to zero right now. The White House.
By the way, I just want to say the reason why this shit doesn't stick as much with like the whole like transgender ban has been revoked from the military, blah blah blah. The reason why it doesn't get a lot of play is because there is a substitute for it. There is some form of economic policy that is at the forefront of the conversation, i.e. getting people money. If you, turns out, advocate for giving people more money, then that's all they will care about and not give a shit about the idiotic like trans ban being revoked. It turns out the American working class cares more about expanding social safety nets and getting money in their pocket than, you know, the conservative culture wars bullshit that they fucking talk about nonstop. Weird. Who would have thought that that would be the case, man? That's crazy. It's so wild. I'm just like super shocked. Now, that will change the moment. I don't know what you're talking about. The Dems clearly weren't playing ball out of spite prior to having the majority in the Senate, and now they're strong-arming their positions. Literally fascism. Hell yeah. Dumb gray name. Exactly. I love it.
Put a statement also. They said that the president and vice president had a substantive and productive discussion with Republican senators this evening at the White House. The group shared a desire to get help to the American people who are suffering through the worst health and economic crisis in a generation. While there were areas of agreement, the president also reiterated his view that Congress must respond boldly and urgently. Whenever Congress says bold and urgent, hold on to your wallet, man. Whenever a politician says bold and urgent, what they mean is we are going to spend more money than has ever been created by God or man.
Yeah. On the military. Which Ben Shapiro is totally on board with. Libertarian, by the way.
They noted many areas in which the Republican senator's proposal does not address the problems. Biden reiterated, while he is hopeful that the rescue plan can pass with bipartisan support, a reconciliation package is a path to achieve that end. The president also made clear that the American Rescue Plan was carefully designed to meet the stakes of the moment. Any changes in it cannot leave the nation short of its pressing needs. So in other words, thanks so much for stopping by. It's been fun. Also, we're going to completely ignore everything you have to say. Captain Unity, unitying it up over there. I mean, like, super.
Dude, oh my God, this is great. They're crying like fucking silly libs, dude. It's great. It's awesome. It's so fucking awesome. He is so mad. I can watch this. I can watch this over and over again. It's so great. They're not doing unity. Fuck you, dude. Come on, dude. Listen. Liberals who come in here to maybe get a crumb of radicalization. Think about how good this feeling is, okay? Just capture that essence. Put it in a fucking low bottle. And that's precisely why you advocate for the Democratic Party to be more aggressive and to actually side with the working class. If you don't give a fuck about the working class, do it because it makes conservatives super fucking mad, okay? And also, the other side of this is you got to fight like hell to also win elections. American people are not completely unified on the checks. No, it doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. What you're saying does not matter. Unity doesn't mean 99.9% of people are going to be on board. It means enough people, majority, are on board. Okay? The Republican hogs are literally brainwashed. I had a customer tell me he didn't want to check because it will make people lazy and complacent. I want to kick him in the throat. Yeah, he's a cuck. What do I say to people that come in here and say, well, should I get money from the government? Like, I kind of don't need it. Like, I don't know what to do with that. What do I always say? Shut the fuck up, you stupid fuck. Do you think rich people ever say, oh, I'm sorry, government, we don't want more money? No, they are entitled as fuck and they expect it. They lobby for it and they get very mad when the government doesn't give them the billions of dollars in subsidies. So stop having that fucking dumbass peasant mentality, okay? You think a rich person has ever said, please, I do not need billions of dollars in subsidies? No, they're like, why am I not getting $2 billion in subsidies? Come on, dude. Come the fuck on. Take the fucking check. It's literally nothing. It's nothing.
Lots of unity happening inside the Democratic Party. So here's what we've gotten in the age of unity, the new golden era so far. We've gotten, if you
really don't know what to do with your free Stimmy money, give some subs to Hasan and Twitch Prime. Keg W. I'm not going to say no to that, brother. No, actually, I will say no to that. Invest in yourself, okay? Invest in yourself. Be a little bit more wise. And I don't mean like put it in the stock market. I mean like literally, buy yourself something nice if you literally have fucking disposable income. Buy your mom something nice. Don't be fucking stupid.
Convict Trump in the impeachment trial. This means that you are in league with the January 6th rioters. That if you believe that Marjorie Taylor Greene is a nut job and a crazy person, but also you can't expel her from Congress for stuff that she said before the election, that's why we have an election process in the United States, that if you actually believe that, you can remove her from committees and stuff, that makes you the party of Marjorie Taylor Greene. And also, if you want to cut a deal on stimulus, if you want to cut a deal on COVID relief, like right now, and you've wanted to for months, but it's not Joe Biden's deal, we're just going to ignore you. So super unity happening right now. Loving the unity, feeling...
Oh, it's so good. Oh, God. I think... Oh, fuck. I don't know. I think I'm violating Twitch terms of service right now.
The unity. God. There's no unity. I hope you enjoy...
Oh, that's so good. Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ, that's good. Oh, that's so good. Oh, I need that. I need that more. I need Democrats to stop fucking being bitches in the way that they used to be and keep on with this, like, no unity shit. Win the fucking midterms, too. And I do believe... I do legitimately believe that if Dems keep doing this, if they keep doing this and they don't back down against Republican aggression, they will actually end up performing very well in the midterms as well. Okay. No 6-second ad break. I just had to get back down. After this, if you have time, you can talk about the farmers' protests in India. There's a couple of people asking you to cover it, like Tumman, after you mentioned that you covered a couple days ago. Yeah, I can cover the protests in India. Is there a good video to start it off with? OT, but are you going to be attending the No Pixel 3.0 meeting in a couple hours? No. I didn't know that was going on. I think I don't know what's happening. I have to figure it out. I have to figure out what I need to do. I've gotten like signed up for it, and I'm like building a character currently. But I haven't been keeping up with it because of fucking the news. But more importantly, there's a ton downloading stuff. Yeah, I'll download everything. That's not a big deal. But unfortunately, the big reason as to why, are you even in the No Pixel Discord server? If not, you aren't invited. No, I am. I am in the No Pixel Discord server. I've been in the No Pixel Discord server It's just that I wish it was just because of the fucking news that was my excuse for not being super well prepared for what is going on in regards to like me getting ready for a No Pixel. But it's literally because of Zelda. Like, I have been nonstop fucking playing Breath of the Wild and loving it, loving every moment of it, and it's so fucking good. And that's the reason why I haven't been able to I've been able to do too much. Yeah, Pepe Le Z. Dude, I'm cranking out like hours and hours and hours and hours, dude. It's just
Please.
Okay. So for those of you who don't know, wait till we play Mario Odyssey, maybe, but the beautiful thing is that like Zelda has been, as I said before, a lifesaver for me, because this was such a deep, dark content hole that we were in with respect to video games. And No Pixel is the Grand Theft Auto role-playing server that's very famous. It's one of the most incredible fucking achievements that gamers that put their minds together have accomplished, in my opinion. It is very strict. There's a lot of rules around it, and it is starting very soon, right? Anyway, it is. Oh, the Newsmax host hold on, I'll talk about that, and then we'll get back to the Indian protest. I'm gonna watch this really quickly too, but very famous Keck W. Yeah, it was fucking blowing up last time. I don't know who the other characters are, who like what other streamers and their characters look like. I know there's like famous characters. I know Moon has a really cool one and shit like that. I am going between, I've been talking to a couple streamers. I've been going between either continuing on with the Hank Pecker saga or potentially doing, and I haven't figured out a name for this, but the last name will be Pecorino. Pecorino. An Italian character. An Italian man who wants to pursue a life of crime, but is also very offended by Italian stereotypes. Paulie Pecorino, Pee. No, but I wanted to be an H. I wanted to have a like an H word, like, you know, Hank Pecker, Hans Parcel, and what would be like an H, like a Italian name that starts with an H? You know? Umberto Pecorino. But yeah, I'm thinking about Hector or Hester. Maybe. Antonio Umberto Pecorino. Umberto's pretty good. Like, and I'm an Italian immigrant. Like, I'm not gonna do this over here. I'm gonna do one of these. Oh no. Like a very Italiano, just fresh off the boat, as they say. And I hate all of the negative stereotypes associated with Italian people. These mafia games. They gave us Italians a bad rap. I hate it. Maro. That sort of thing. What do you guys think about that? Potentially. But then he himself is like every stereotype. You know what I mean? Like, at first I started working in the plumbing industry, you know? I thought this is the best way to do it. this is the job I was meant to do, you know. But then I'm running around, mamma mia, I'm looking for mushrooms everywhere. Remember, you'd have to maintain that at all times. I don't know if I can do that. I could definitely do this over here, though. I could definitely do this. I could definitely do this kind of accent all the fucking time over here. Oh, no. I could do maybe like Italian. I could start out with a thick Italian accent and then all of a sudden turn it into a New Jersey accent. You know what I mean? With no explanation whatsoever. And it's like, yeah, I'm fucking, yeah, whatever, dude. This is how it works. The transformation is fucking complete over here. You already know what it is, dude. One day, I'm talking like I'm fresh off the boat. Next day, all of a sudden, I'm fucking assimilated over here. You know? That sort of thing. You have to wear that Nike's jacket you got in the P.O. box. Accent lore, you paid a dumpster diver from New Jersey $500 to teach you English. That's what I was thinking. Like, I go from like Italiano to all of a sudden out of nowhere, I'm like, hey, listen to me. I still can't stand that they're taking Columbus Day from us. Why is it that everything good that Italians have fucking created around these parts gets stolen by those fucking dirty Irish? You know it happens, okay? We're the real people of color. POC, people of carbonara. Okay. AOC, why is nobody talking about POC, which is Italians, of course? This is almost a hate crime, Hasan. Yeah. Catchphrase absolutely is, you just gobbled your last ghoul. I could even do it from fucking the Italian. Hey, you, my friend, have just gobbled your last ghoul. The Proud Boys are now declared terrorists in Canada is literally not even on my docket. Okay, we're not covering that story. Dude, H is not pronounced in Italian, so there's no Italian name starting with H. Yeah. Ragazzi! It's politics hour. Do character creation. Move on. It's politics hour. Yo, people pay me $15 and think they're my fucking dad. Like, hey, fuck you, dude. How about that? How about you move on from this community, motherfucker? Like, fuck you, dude. Like, what a fucking idiot. You literally can't get away with that sort of behavior anywhere else. Can you imagine treating anyone like that? Like anyone. That's the guy who fucking yells at the waiter. 100%. Yeah. Motherfucker pays me 2 cents an hour and then he's like, move on right now. Move on right now. Imagine you're shooting the shit and your friend's like, okay, dude, shut up and move on. You just can't do that. Like, just learn to be normal, okay? I know that most people don't fucking expect me to read their chats or something, but like, I read everything. So, like, what you're putting on there is just something I'm very likely going to read. Just logged on after watching an ad for Black History Month. The next thing I hear is, "We are the real people of color," in a hate crime of an accent. The POC, you know, people of carbonara. I did read it. Stop saying read me. Oh, God, you're so triggering. I'm not reading anything anymore. All right. Newsmax host yesterday, who we saw yesterday and today, who stormed out of the interview with MyPillow, owner of MyPillow, said, there is no question I could have handled the end of the interview differently, adding, Lindell will continue to be an important guest on Newsmax.
You may have seen something out of the ordinary happen during an interview with Mike Lindell, the CEO of MyPillow. Mike is a friend of this network, and we were supposed to discuss Twitter's decision to ban him and the impacts of cancel culture on his business. But there was some confusion, and Mike thought that we were to talk about vote fraud in the recent election. It's a topic we have covered extensively on Newsmax. I was frustrated that we couldn't focus on the current, very pressing issue of free speech and cancel culture, and in hindsight, there is no question that I could have handled the end of the interview differently. At Newsmax, we seek out all points of view. Mike was back on Newsmax last night with Rob Schmidt on his show to continue the conversation about cancel culture and the censorship by social media.
But you canceled yourself, sweaty.
Mike also made clear he thinks Newsmax is great, his words, and I can tell you he will continue to be an important guest on Newsmax. I think you'll enjoy what Mike had to say last night, so here it is.
Well, they took down my personal one, too.
Do you think Mike Lindell is going to start doing crack again, or has it already happened? Bro, he has something better than crack, okay? And that's called Republican God. It's like, I said this before, but, I mean, I joked about this before, but like, Mike Lindell might be the only person who's gotten worse after beating a crack addiction. He's also high on copium, too.
This is one of the busiest highways leading to Delhi. It's been
No, Hunter Biden got better after crack, dude. What are you kidding me? Hunter Biden is great.
Blocked for weeks.
He was great when he was on crack, too,
Thousands
but
of farmers from the northern states of India have marched to the capital city to protest farming reforms. They've covered at least 5 major highways.
Yeah, let's now make fun of substance abusers. This is a medical issue. What do you mean? I don't. I talk about addiction quite frequently on this platform. Okay, here's the like what I said has nothing to do with like shitting on substance abuse or people with addiction problems, my friend. But what I will tell you is there's another form of abuse that happens on this broadcast, and that's called top of the hour, every hour, 60-second ad break abuse, which is precisely what I'm going to do right now before we get into the Indian farmer protest, which is an ongoing story. It's the largest labor protest in history, I believe, if not definitely contemporary history, with more than 250 million people involved in it. But before we do that, here's a 1-minute ad break. If you no longer want to see the ads, all you need to do is subscribe. You can do it for $5 or for free with your Amazon Prime. Here's the ad now. Very weird thing going on Twitter with Greta Thunberg and this. Yeah, she talked about it. Rihanna talked about it.
Around the city. The police met them with tear gas and water cannons, but they made it through and have now set up camp in and around Delhi.
6 महीने का राशन ले गए हैं पीछे घर वालों की हल्लाशेरी बहुत है भी हां डटे रहो मुड़का नहीं हमने अपना धरना शांतिपूर्वक करना है चाहे हमारे 6 महीने लगो साल लगो हमने कोई दिक्कत नहीं है ये कल को हमको भेज देते हैं तो हम कल को चले जाएंगे हम लंबे प्रोग्राम आप देखो ट्रालियां पर छतें डाली हुई है.
Guys, this is an older video. This is all the way back from December when it first occurred. Okay, or when it first started, pretty much. or when it was heating up. But we are going to I'm going to give you more updates on things that have happened since then. But this is just a good refresher.
Prime Minister Modi's government has passed new farming laws that will change how the agricultural industry has worked for decades. And in a country of 1.4 billion people, where agricultural workers make up half of the labor force, the repercussions of those laws could be devastating. In the 1960s, India, a recently independent country, was struggling to produce enough food for its citizens. A string of droughts made things worse, causing devastating famines. So the government stepped in to modernize farming and increase the food supply in what was called the Green Revolution. They brought in U.S. advisors to help boost the production of rice and wheat. Together, they ended up overusing chemical fertilizers, pesticides, and irrigation, causing large plots of land to become infertile. Many crops suffered. Some nearly disappeared. But rice and wheat production soared. And soon, India went from having a food crisis to having a food surplus. It was in this context that India also developed a nationwide food marketing system to ensure fair prices. It's a complex system, and it differs from state to state, but here's one way to understand it. It starts with farmers bringing their crops here, to wholesale markets locally known as mundis. The farmers then sell those crops to traders through open auctions with transparent pricing. Prices can also be informed by the minimum support price, or MSP, a government price for crops like rice, cotton, wheat. The government only buys a couple of crops at these prices in certain states, but those prices can still serve as a benchmark. The crops then go to secondary market or are stored by the buyers before they are sent out for future sales. It's not a perfect system, though.
Local traders do end up colluding with each other. The auctions actually are not competitive bidding.
But for the most part, the system works on a large scale because there's oversight that aims to protect farmers by giving them market standards.
They've been designed keeping in mind the fact that farmers are the weakest link and they can be exploited in numerous ways.
Over the years, state reforms have gradually redefined and regulated markets in different ways across India. In Punjab and Haryana, for example, they have become a vital part of the industry, and farmers here have the highest incomes in the country. But in the state of Bihar, markets were eliminated in 2006, and the farmers here are still ranked the poorest in India by income. And all of this is happening while there's a bigger farming crisis. The money in farming is disappearing. Since the days of the Green Revolution, agriculture has gone from accounting for nearly 50% of the economy to just 15%, meaning millions of farmers already have trouble making ends meet in this shrinking economy. More than half of India's farming households are in debt, and this debt has contributed to a suicide crisis. In the last 2 years, more than 20,000 farmers have died by suicide. Because of this economic hardship, farmers have been asking for reforms for decades. But this year, instead of providing more protections for this vulnerable community, the central government went in the opposite direction.
And farmers fear that the direction in which the reforms are happening are actually a direction of dismantling of the MSP.
So let's take a look at these 3 farming acts that sparked the protest. Each of them deregulates a different part of the system. The first act creates free, unregulated trade spaces outside the markets. The laws in these spaces would override wholesale market rules. And although a lot of trade takes place outside already, what happens in the markets remains a benchmark across the industry. But this act will create 2 parallel markets with very different rules, one with oversight and another that creates room for big corporate players to come in unregulated.
And in this dual market structure, the players in the regulated markets are bound to move out and operate in the deregulated spaces, and that is where farmers are going to lose out when these traditional spaces collapse onto themselves.
The second act creates a framework for contract farming deals. Any business agreements would be strictly between farmers and traders with little oversight, giving farmers few options to fight bad deals. As these agreements increase outside of wholesale markets, they could further fragment the market and leave small farmers dependent on terms set by big corporations or be cut out of the industry altogether.
ਉਹ ਸਾਰੇ ਦੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਫੇਲ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਆਪਦਾ ਰੇਟ ਤੈਅ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਹੈ ਹੌਲੀ-ਹੌਲੀ ਇਸ ਰੇਟ ਨੂੰ ਵਧਾਉਣਗੇ ਫਿਰ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਪੂਰੀ ਦੀ ਪੂਰੀ
Neoliberals be like, I don't understand. It seems like they're going to get priced out. Why are they constantly relying on government to back their dying industry? I see no problem with this.
ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਮੰਡੀ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਕਬਜ਼ਾ ਕਰਨਗੇ ਇਹ ਆਪ ਦਾ
ਮੰਡੀ ਆ ਜਾਏਗੀ तो वो हमारा वो सिस्टम खत्म हो जाएगा.
The third act affects a different part of the chain. It eliminates the storage limits previously set by the government to control prices. Unlimited storage means that anyone with enough money can stock up. The problem is, without oversight, they can also start dictating prices. Altogether, the three acts invite big players into a fragmented and deregulated market that could lead to volatile prices for farmers.
And by deregulating the market,
there will never be a deregulated market. The market will always be regulated by the biggest player. If it's not the government, it's going to be whatever the fucking big like agri companies are in India. They will set the prices for whatever you can fucking whatever they want to pay for it. Sounds like they're creating a vacuum for industrial farming to take over. Yes.
Markets. The government has also put out a message in the same breath, essentially saying that they think farmers don't need any protection anymore from the government.
On June 3rd, 2020, when the government announced the farming reforms, it didn't take long for the impact to be felt on the ground. Wholesale markets around the country have already seen fewer crops arrive in their market yards. In the state of Madhya Pradesh, more than 40 markets have lost business.
Trading has moved out of regulated market spaces, and it is not as though good prices are being fetched by farmers. And this is the context in which farmers' anger has to be understood. They didn't get what they wanted, and what was thrust down upon them is very different from what they were asking for.
कि किसानों को इस कानून की ज़रूरत नहीं थी, इस कानून को रद्द किया जाए और जो हमारी मीटिंगें हुई हमारे नेताओं की उनके साथ उसमें वो एक बात बोलते हैं वो छल करते हैं।
ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਸਿੱਖੀਆਂ ਆ ਸਾਡੇ ਗਾਂ ਆਉਣ ਵਾਲੀਆਂ ਪੀੜ੍ਹੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਦੱਸ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਹੱਕਾਂ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਲੜਨਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਆ ਵਾਜਬ ਆ। ਇੱਕ ਚਿੜੀ ਆ ਉਹਦਾ ਜੇਕਰ ਕੋਈ ਆਲਣਾ ਵੀ ਤੋੜਦਾ ਆ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਚਿੜੀ ਵੀ ਚੈਂ ਚੈਂ ਕਰਦੀ ਰੌਲਾ ਪਾਉਂਦੀ ਆ।
So who are the big players that are, I assume, pushing for this kind of deregulation in India? Because this video did not talk about it too much.
Right like scenes in the heart of
also, so this is early stuff. This is just like a refresher. So it just background, Reliance, Adani, etc. No, not BJP and Modi. BJP and Modi doesn't deregulate the agricultural industry this way, purely for fucking anger or spite. It's oftentimes done for a specific purpose, for larger players to move in and take over the market and start setting prices. So who is the person behind Modi or pushing Modi to take this sort of action? That's the real question. There's this Indian market near me taking donations and rational process is pretty crazy. Have you talked about what is happening in Merrick Garland's confirmation? Ambani, owner of Reliance. Oh yeah, then Reliance, all Ambani business, and also Nestle. The Bharatiya Janata Party is pushing for it, and they ask the top companies like Reliance. I am from India. Hold on. My local pastor is doing the stimulus challenge where it challenges the church to donate their stimulus check to him. Okay, dude, stop. Let's keep going on this. So since then, protests heated up. I think, what was it? how many people have died so far? I believe like online districts or online access was suspended at least 14 of the 22 districts in the Haryana state near New Delhi until 5 p.m. This was back. I can't even fucking talk. Holy shit. This is from the latest info coming in from CNN, which I think this is from yesterday, but this is the fucking link that Rihanna posted that everybody got mad at. Got 253,000 retweets. They shut the fucking internet off? How is that legal? Yeah, the Kashmir region says, hello. India fucking shuts off internet all the goddamn time. They do shit like that when they want to. It is entirely different. Their form of governance there is not like the United States. Anyway, internet access remained blocked on Monday. You need to look at why they're saying it's good from their perspective and debunk that. Please look both sides. I mean, I can give you the both sides argument. The other side's argument is that this will be better for, this is fair pricing, that government intervention doesn't work, that this is too expensive of an endeavor, there's too much waste, and that, you know, whoever the fucking big player is going to do a much better job. Look at how efficient it's going to be. And it will be efficient. It will be efficient in terms of rice or agricultural production. It'll be efficient in terms of distribution, but unfortunately efficiency under capitalism does not mean what is the best for the people itself. So many farmers will be priced out. So many farmers will no longer be able to make money as a consequence of this. And we're talking, because it's fucking India, we're not talking like 50,000 people. We're talking 1 million people. We're talking 250,000 people. Do you understand? And then on top of that, this happens everywhere, by the way. Like, this isn't just a India issue. This is not an issue that is just in India. This happens everywhere around the world, where there is government regulation over. I mean, there is government control over a lot of the pricing, or at least like pricing subsidies are built into the pricing itself. There's different ways of influencing how agricultural production works. There's always some form of centralized planning for it. We do it here in the United States as well. But in the United States, like, it's completely already in the fucking hands of big business. Not 250,000, 250 million. Sorry, I don't know why I said 1,000. In India, you got to fucking 100x everything. Or 1,000x everything. Yeah, they say everything's bigger in Texas, but everything's actually bigger in India. Even their fascism. A 48-hour internet shutdown was also imposed on 3 other areas in the Delhi borders late on Friday, with India's Ministry of Home Affairs saying the move was in the interest of maintaining public safety and averting public emergency, like Robin Hood saying, this is in your interest not to be able to buy, artificially causing the price to fucking decrease of GME stocks. You know, it's in your best interest to not be able to tweet out when we're beating the shit out of your protesters. According to officials, those blackouts should have been lifted on Sunday night, but Ramjit Singh Katyal, a spokesperson for the Samyukta Kisan Morcha, an umbrella body representing protesting farmers, said the internet was still not working as of Monday. Demonstrators gathered at the Singhu border as farmer protests against new farm laws. Internet restrictions came after violent scenes last week as demonstrators continue against 3 agricultural laws passed in September. Since late November, hundreds of thousands of protesters were gathered on the outskirts of New Delhi to demonstrate against charges they say they weren't consulted on and which will hurt their livelihoods. On Tuesday last week, a national holiday known as Republic Day that marks the anniversary of the enactment of the country's constitution, thousands of protesters stormed New Delhi's historic Red Fort as police used tear gas and batons against the demonstrators. Dozens of officers were injured and one protester died when a tractor overturned during the protest near the New Delhi police headquarters. Police said Wednesday. More than 100 protesters are still missing, Samyukta Kisan Morcha said Sunday. An internet shutdown was also imposed in new areas. Darshan Paul, who is the SKM, a leader from SKM, condemned the internet shutdowns, calling the moves undemocratic. The government does not want the real facts to reach protesting farmers, nor their peaceful conduct to reach the world. It wants to spread its false spin around farmers. It is also fearful of the coordinated work of the farmers' unions across different protest sites, and it's trying to cut off communication between them. Communication means between them. By the way, a lot of these dudes are literal communists. For the record, for those of you who get triggered by the sight of like hammer and sickle and shit, like they are a part of the Communist Party. They are communists themselves. Like they are engaging in what a robust militant labor force would be able to do if they had the power to organize, which they do. Are you aware of the right-wing links between Trumpism, Modi, BJP, RSS? Yes, I am aware of the right-wing links between Modi and Donald Trump. Anyway, the government does not want that. Nevertheless, the farmers are still joining the protest. SKM's Katyal said Monday, typically the village groups work against each other, but this time they have all united for their collective fight. Additional Deputy Commissioner of Police in Delhi, Jitendra Meena, said police had deployed more force at the border. Although India is the world's most populous democracy, it also topped the world in terms of internet shutdowns in 2019. Of course, there was I mentioned this already, but there was a month-long internet blackout in Indian-controlled Kashmir after India rewrote the constitution to remove Kashmir's protected autonomy. Remember, we talked about this back when they made a move and literally turned around and they made a move and literally turned around and fucking arrested like the authorities there in Kashmir, like elected representatives in Kashmir. It's a classic fascist bullshit. It's very similar to what Bibi Netanyahu is doing. It's very similar to what Donald Trump tried to do. It's just that when you are a hyper-militant, fascist, authoritarian leader, you have to unite against the common enemy and also continue to deregulate markets, continue to destroy labor unions, because this kind of shit can't happen, because you can't control when 250 million people get together and say, fuck you. And we are not working. We are not striking. That same year, authorities shut down internet in other areas. We already talked about that. Approach is controversial. Controversial. On Saturday, Mandeep Punia, a freelance journalist covering the protest, was arrested on the border between Delhi and Haryana. Punia's lawyer, Akram Khan, told CNN Monday. Punia has been... this is what I remember. Yeah, Punia has been remanded to judicial custody for 14 days from Sunday, accused of obstructing a public servant from discharging his duty and voluntarily causing hurt and assault or criminal force to deter a public servant from duty. They were merely carrying out their journalistic duties, and another journalist was detained along him, but was released around midnight. Delhi's police, Meena said Punia was not carrying an ID card when he was caught in a scuffle between villagers and protesters. Meena said Punia incited the farmers and pushed police. Devduta Mukhopadhyay of Internet Freedom Foundation said the government is using extremely draconian measures of internet suspension. Okay, it's not just the internet suspension that's a problem, though. Okay. We already talked about why the farmers are protesting. Punia got bail, but he fucking wrote all names and accounts of fellow farmers detained in jail on his fucking leg with a pen to write a report on it later. He's golden. For decades, the Indian government offered guaranteed prices. We talked about it already. There was a long-term certainty that, in theory, allowed them to make investments for the next crop cycle. The new rules allow farmers to sell their goods to anyone for any price, giving them more freedom to do things such as sell directly to buyers and not sell to other states. But farmers argue that the new rules will leave them worse off by making it easier for corporations to exploit agricultural workers and help big companies drive down prices. What is remarkable to me in this entire story, perhaps one of the most unique parts about this entire story is the reality that the farmers themselves are very aware of the negative aspects of deregulation. Usually in America, you have workers and even, farmers like this oftentimes rail against government regulation and hate government regulation and say it's a big government overreach. It's the same mentality that Americans have about, like, I'm a worker. I don't really deserve this fucking $2,000 stimulus check. I shouldn't get it. Right? Whereas when you have labor organizing, when you have an opportunity to educate others, you can look beyond the immediate tangible benefits that you may get for the short term, like being able to sell to a private business that is going to pay a pretty penny up front and ahead of time, and remind yourself that the private business will fuck you over in the long term. You see what I'm saying? You can't do that, and you can't get so many people to organize without some sort of centralized command force, I guess. İstanbul'da gerçekleşen olaylara bakacak mısın? Baktım bile ona. I covered what's going on in Boğaziçi 2 days ago. But farmers argue that the new rules will leave them worse off by making it easier for corporations to exploit agricultural workers and help big companies drive down prices, which is exactly what's going to happen. They could sell crops at elevated prices if the demand is there. Conversely, they could struggle to meet the minimum price in years when there is too much supply in the market. The laws have been so contentious because agriculture is the primary source of livelihood for about 58% of India's 1.3 billion population. And farmers have been arguing for years to get the minimum guaranteed prices increased. They are the biggest voter bloc in the country, making farming a central political issue. The government held rounds of talks with leaders of more than 30 farmers unions that are opposed to the laws, but the talks have gone nowhere. As in, the government did not listen to the leaders of the farming unions. 58% of the country, 30 fucking farmers unions are able to mobilize, or more than that probably, but are able to mobilize 58% of the country. That's fucking insane. Well, not mobilize in the entirety of 58% of the country, but at least like 250 million people. What about the Gerudo Revolution? You cover it? Dude, come on. Don't make jokes. Is that a fucking Zelda reference, dude? I'm gonna get to Zelda in a little bit after this. Okay, chill. Last month, India's Supreme Court issued an order putting the 3 contentious farm laws on hold and ordered the formation of a 4-member mediation committee to help the parties negotiate. But farmer leaders have rejected any court-appointed mediation committee. Oh, at least 147. This was the number I was looking for. That's the reason why I clicked on this link. At least 147 farmers have died during the course of the months-long protest from a range of causes, including suicide, road accidents, and exposure to cold weather. And authorities, of course, have not given an official figure on protester deaths. But the fascist Indian party and the fascist Indian police are beating the fucking living shit out of protesters who are largely peaceful protesters. I'm assuming there is going to be, I'm sure this has already happened, but certainly there's got to be some fucking, there's got to be some kind of, like, movement that occurred that the government is using to justify violent action. By the way, I don't know if I can show this, Fizz. There's probably blood in this. Like, I'm sure something has already happened in which the government said, well, look, there's violence here. These guys are actually not peaceful. They're actually violent, to justify further beating the shit out of the protesters.
That the police did nothing to stop them. हम यहाँ चुपचाप लंगर के सेवा कर रहे थे, लंगर पका रहे थे, सब्जी पका रहे थे। हमें नहीं पता उनकी भीड़, क्योंकि हम तो अपना काम कर रहे थे। जब हमने देखा भी पुलिस के साथ रलकर उन्होंने हमें 5 मिनट में ही ना उन्होंने यहाँ आ गए सीधा हमारे लंगर के सामने और पथराव शुरू कर दिया। हमारे लंगर के कोई 8-10 सेवादारों के सिर पर चोटें लगी हैं, किसी के पैर पे, किसी पे हाथ पे। हम तो शांतमय थे ना, हमें तो कोई हल्ला गुल्ला नहीं किया, लेकिन वो पुलिस के साथ रलकर उन्होंने पुलिस भी लागे उसके खड़के खुश हो रही थी और हमें पत्थर वो मार रहे थे, लेकिन हम शांतमय यहाँ अपना काम कर रहे थे। पुलिस ने अथरू गैस के गोले भी हमारे ऊपर दागे। शुरू भी उन्होंने किया और उनको कुछ नहीं किया और हमारे लोगों पर अथरू गैस के गोले छोड़े गए। और हम तुम देख सकते हो यहाँ पत्थर अभी भी पड़े हैं। ये पत्थर देखो वो गमला भी उन्होंने फूट का उधर से मारा जोर से, और छत के भी देखो कितने पत्थर पड़े हैं छत के ऊपर, वो देखो नीचे को पड़े, और उधर भी फटा पड़ा है, बहुत पत्थर है, ये भी बहुत जख्मी हुए पड़े हैं। और उधर हमारी रोटी पकाने वाली जो मशीन है उसको भी तोड़ फोड़ की है उन्होंने। आप बताओ हम क्या करें, हम शांत में धरना भी नहीं दे सकते।
I think these guys are class reductionists, Sweaty. It seems like they're not being patriotic enough by protesting the patriotic government. Time to cancel these farmers, dude.
But injuries, recounted the events.
I'm gonna write an article about the aggressive masculinity of Sikhs who don't shave, which is violence in and of itself, I think.
और उसके बाद पुलिस वालों ने पकड़ के लेके मेरे पर लाठी चार्ज की और मेरे इस निशान साहब ने जो मैं पहना हुआ है यहाँ पे कमर कसा और यहाँ में लाठी चार्ज हुई, मैं बच गया फिर भी। तो उसके बाद कुछ आगू गए मुझे छुड़ाने के लिए, मुझे छुड़ा के लाए हैं, ठीक है जी। बहुत शद्दरगीन ने मेरे पर फैंड चार्ज किए इन्होंने, और उसके बाद जिन्होंने आरएस वाले और बीजेपी मिले हुए थे और मेरा वीर है, इनके ऊपर भी पथराव हुआ।
Modi, the BJP, and the RSS declare anyone they don't like as anti-national. They've declared the majority Punjabi Sikh protesters as supporters of Khalistan, a separate state for Sikhs. The Islamophobia is also rampant in India, and the Indian equivalent of Groypers are incredibly racist and colorist towards South Indians. In many ways, Indian chuds are far worse than American chuds. Well, it's always, again, everything's bigger in India. It's always going to be on fucking steroids. Wait, do people actually think that? No, I was being sarcastic. I was just applying both lib reasoning as to why this is bad and then applying like conservative reasoning as to why it's bad. No one is talking about it because they are not farmers. They are terrorists who are trying to divide India so that China can take over our vulnerable, broken nation and make it a Chinese colony, much like USA. Sit down, you fool. We are not selling our nation like you dummies. Says Kangana Ranaut, artist. Oh, God. Alexa, play Diamonds by Rihanna. Oh, yeah, Tatu. I took over my account in August last year before it was a team fan page. Oh. He's a crazy person. Tatu, shithead. Okay, I like that. She's a huge Bollywood actress. Dude. The problem with movements like this is that, like, good luck getting these dudes' point of view when the internet is fucking already blocked, when the most, like, forward-facing or outside-facing communication from India is going to be not coming from fucking farmers, but instead, you know, celebrities and shit that you have learned about or hear about. Especially in a country where there is gigantic income inequality, like India. You are only going to hear about it from shills for the BJP. And even like American Indian, some American Indian celebrities that talk about shit like this oftentimes will take like a very, very pro-Modi approach, which is surprising to some. Wasn't it Priyanka Chopra who like literally fucking said during the Kashmir stuff. Yeah. Priyanka Chopra was like, during the Kashmir stuff, like in support of Modi. Partially because they're dumb as fuck. And, I mean, think about it. Like, American celebrities aren't super well-versed in American politics. You know what I mean? Also, the notorious flag being raised clip wasn't actually a Khalistan flag, but, or is it Khalistan flag? What is its significance? Inspired by the idea of Khalistan, in reality, it was quite different. The original interpretation of the Protesters' Act comes from Bhagat Singh, the Sikh general who had hoisted a flag at Red Fort after emerging victorious in his conflict against Mughals. Like, why are they fucking triggered by this? Oh, because they're gonna run the separatist narrative. Okay, so this is what they will. So when protests like this happen, where people have legitimate grievances, those in control that are being protested against will find a way to dilute the movement and make it seem as though the people are acting out of some other reason beyond, like, literally, we need to continue to survive by farming. They will have to reframe it. It happens with the Black Lives Matter protest where they say, well, these guys actually just hate cops and they're violent terrorists. And in a similar capacity, I assume, part of the way to attack this protest is by saying this is actually a terrorist separatist group. It's the same protocol everywhere around the planet. The Indian media is the worst. Arnab Goswami, the Tucker Carlson of India, had his WhatsApp messages exposed, which proved he was framing his coverage purely based on directions from the Indian government. Nobody in the media talked about it. Yeah, the media is, again, both in America and also in every other fucking country of the planet, under a capitalist organization of the economy. The media absolutely works as the pillar that holds and normalizes government actions. They will justify it. They will. Everyone says their media is the worst. I mean, yeah, it's because media is relatively reactionary, depending on where you are, no matter what. Because their job isn't to be honest brokers of the truth. Their job is to uphold whatever the fucking truth that the current powerful people want you to believe is the truth. She's insane. I feel so elated. I don't remember being so happy, excited. The cancer in the body of this nation we were looking for has been located, identified, and now the process of eradication will start. Dude, yo, what the fuck? Yo, this happened during Kashmir too. I swear to God, bro. I don't know if it's like English as a second language shit, even though like Indian people are basically fucking first language English speakers too, as a consequence of, colonialism. But whenever fucking Indian celebrities write about what's going on, it literally reads like, if you translated the German, it's just Nazi shit. Straight up. Like, straight the fuck up, dude. They literally, every time, I remember reading like Indian celebrities talking about Kashmir, and like the way that they were covering the eradication of the Muslim scourge is fucking nuts. It's the BJP cell script. Being a privileged Hindu from India, I can acknowledge that RSS and BJP have made it a living hell for the minorities, and any dissenting voice is considered anti-national. You need to have a look at Arnab Goswami. He is the worst clown in Indian media. It's all just garbage propaganda, and I assure you it's not a translation issue. Everyone is so aggressive about the way BJP exists in the country. It's sickening. No, my favorite thing was like they were doing the fucking like hyper militant, hyper nationalist like Israeli line of defense on India when I tweeted about it a little bit, immediately, and again, this was back when I was covering the Kashmir stuff. Immediately, people that fucking retaliated were like, "Wow, your anti-Indian racism is showing right now." It's like, what? It's like immediately being like, "Oh, you're criticizing the IDF or the hyper-militant, hyper-nationalist actions of the Israeli government against Palestinians. You must be anti-Semitic." It's literally always the same. It's a BJP IT cell that has changed the atmosphere of the country. I'm from India, and before 2014, this wasn't rampant. India media is like American media. If every channel was Fox News and CNN was way smaller and even more establishment. So it's like Turkish media. Actually, Turkish media, I feel like it's changing. Also, ironically, the most left-leaning or the most liberal institution in Turkey is Fox News. I'm not even kidding. The Turkish Fox is like the most lib fucking outlet in Turkey. No, but like they're not the same Fox. Like they're not. Indian YouTube is worse, and they've aligned some of the content with Q2. Indians are super racist towards Indians. It's so insane to me. Almost like a fucking historic caste system drives a massive and well-identified and sometimes racialized. How else would I do it? A class system, but a caste system. It's literally called it. I don't know what else to. I don't know how to analogize caste system. You say the American racial hierarchy is reminiscent of a fucking caste system. So it's hard to use that as an analogy when that is the analogy that other people use. It's the caste system. Do you think Biden is going to listen to progressives and do things? What? No. How does the Indian socioeconomic structure compare to the American structure? Is one more underdeveloped than the other? Dude, yes. It's not even a question, dude. Like, again, every fucking thing that you experience in America is, again, on steroids. India is significantly less developed than the United States for obvious reasons. Again, colonization, colonialism, being a big burden kind of does that to a country. And also their geopolitical weaknesses. What do you think will be the biggest win if progressives get between this? I don't know. It's not just the caste system. There's plenty of different ethnicities in India, and there's a lot of resentment from places like Tamil Nadu towards the north because for decades the government tried to force Tamils to learn Hindi in school. The problem with that is enforcing other ethnicities to speak Hindi is another form of cultural supremacy from Hindi speakers as well. Yeah. Indian caste system is a fascist structure somewhat like what Hitler would have forced on Europe with Scandinavians at the top and Italians at the bottom, Slavs and such. Yeah. The untouchables would be, I guess, Jewish people and the disabled, and caste system is breed within the Hindu religion. Where I am from within India, most people do not even think about it. Funny though, like you mentioned, India is vastly underdeveloped, but their laborers seem to know their rights better. Well, it's a consequence of being vastly underdeveloped that their laborers seem to know their rights better, because professional, like, there isn't as much impact through financialization of their marketplaces or financialization in general. There isn't as much an impact of professionalization of their labor force, I guess. Like, our labor force is completely fucking segregated. It's totally separate from one another. People live in islands. They don't recognize their fellow workers. They don't recognize that we all have the same fucking interests, and that we could unite along those lines. Whereas if you are literally a fucking farmer, and no matter what, even if you're competing with another farmer, you understand that, like, this is what you do, and it's going to be significantly worse if a corporation takes over the purchasing process. That's part of it. That's one theory as to why a second, like, red revolution might not ever happen in the world as it stands, because there is no like, we don't have that same kind of labor organizing that was easy to create in a factory floor as in the aftermath of the Industrial Revolution. If it's so bad, why is the U.S. the strongest country in the world? Well, part of the reason why the United States is the strongest country in the world is because it keeps other countries down and ripe for exploitation. Another part of the reason why the United States is the strongest country in the world is, again, not necessarily the happiest country in the world, or rather the country that takes care of its citizens the most. The United States is not very good at that. That's why when I was covering West Virginia earlier, you saw people living in absolute, like, desolate, horrific conditions. So what good is being the strongest country in the world if you can't even take care of your own fucking citizens? What are you going to do, dude? You going to put that GDP in your ass? Huh? Can you eat your GDP, dude? Is that gonna put food on your table? No. Yo, let me rub some GDP on my fucking problems, dude. Yeah, I know. I got back pain. Maybe I'll just go through the MRI and I'll pay for the MRI bill, which is gonna be like $1,000, and even more than that if you're out of coverage with the GDP. I'll just rub it on the doctor's face. Yeah, you got back pain, bro? Just put some GDP on it. You'll be fine. School shooting happened again? Oh, dude, it's fine. GDP. Anyway. Why does everyone want to go to America then? Because if America is the fucking playground bully and literally beats the shit out of other countries and takes all of their resources, if you're from the other country, it's better to fucking try to get into the country with all the resources. Also, not everybody wants to come to America, dumbass. I did. I love America. That's why I'm here, despite the fact that so many conservatives consistently say, you fucking hate America, commie. 3 ways the Indian government has suppressed Sikhs in Punjab. 1, lost land. Punjab was reduced from 58,000 square miles to 19,000 square miles. Since 1947, the central Indian government has specifically attacked Sikh agricultural rights through lost resources. Today, Punjab's electricity and around 5 trillion gallons of water have been diverted to neighboring states. Lost life, 100 to 150,000 Sikhs have been killed in India through government-organized genocide, disappearances, and shootings. Holy shit. These farmer bills are a small part of a larger genocide against Punjabi Sikh culture. Stop vilifying the Sikh struggle to get approval from India and the West. Why do you love America if you disagree with its fundamental system of capitalism as well as its governmental system, not to mention historical aspects? Porn. Zaddy Daddy, thank you for the 20 gifted subs. This is a bit much. It's corruption, not genocide. I don't know, man. I think 100 to 150,000, regardless of India's size overall, is still pretty fucking genocidal. Hey, Sikhs, it's a bit much for you to consider 150,000 people, 150,000 of your people dying to be genocide. Sorry. You know, it's usually around the 200,000 range do we start to say, oh, yeah, it's genocide. The 1984 anti-Sikh riots alone accounted for the mass murder of Sikhs to the tune of 17,000. The 1980... can't believe I'm saying 1984, but yes, in the 1984... Okay, this is the last thing I want to watch on this.
For more than a month now, thousands of farmers have been protesting on the outskirts of the Indian capital, Delhi. The Singhu border has become the epicenter of the protests. Old and young, men.
Sorry, it's not riots. It is genocide. Tumba Man is correct. It's similar to what the fuck happened. Like, it's like saying, the bombing of Black Wall Street is just a race riot. It's not a fucking race riot. It is a targeted, deliberate, specific attack against a minority population, oftentimes led by or overlooked by the majority-run government.
And women who continue to brave the bitter cold and rain and refuse to back down. I am Rupa Jha, and I've come to spend a night at the Singhu border. I'm not here to debate the laws which have angered the farmers. I'm here to simply understand what keeps them going?
Islam it can't be erased, by the way. Half the chat thinks these dudes are Muslim. Just like literally, they're like, oh, the fucking brown guy, beard, turban, Muslim, obviously, right?
Joginder Singh is a former soldier in the Indian Army. He says he is unfazed because he has fought battles in much harsher terrains.
हम तो बर्फ में 27 फुट की बर्फ में हिल साइड में भी रहे हैं, तो हमारे को तो ये ठंड ठुंड का कोई परवाह नहीं है, तो इसलिए हम यहाँ पर रह रहे हैं. जब तक हमारा हक नहीं मिलेगा हम वापस नहीं जाएंगे यहाँ से. हम लड़ नहीं.
By the way, the 250K number comes from the numbers compiled by the Punjab State Magistracy and Human Rights Groups, and apparently reported in the book The Politics of Genocide by Inderjeet Singh Jaiji. I don't know if I'm saying it right, for that person who was wondering. I'm not like the most well versed on this, so I might be giving some information that is not fully accurate. So I have to, I feel like I need to read 11 books to be able to understand the nuance of this. So all I can do is interpret what is going on through the same lens that I analyze most news from.
सरकार से हमने लड़ना क्यों है? लड़ाई तो होती है दूसरे जो देशों के साथ. ये तो हमारी घरेलू है. ये तो हम अपना हक मांगने आए हैं किसान.
जो राजा होता है प्रजा का माँ बाप होता है सारी का, वो अपनी प्रजा को ऐसे सड़कों पे देखकर उसको दुख नहीं आता, वो राजा राज काबिल नहीं है.
In September last year, the government passed 3 farm laws that loosen rules on how crops are produced, stored, and sold. The laws allow private players a greater role, and that sparked farmers' fears that they will lose decades-old concessions and be left to fend for themselves at the mercy of the free market. So on 26 November, farmers from Punjab and Haryana
Thank you, Zaddy Daddy, for the 22 gift subs.
They clashed with police firing tear gas, but that did not stop them laying siege to the capital. Women too have joined the protests since then. Swanjeet is the first woman to have come from her village.
Roti looks fucking dank.
ਵੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਾਡੇ ਹੱਕ ਮਿਲ ਜਾਣ. ਜੋ ਇਹ ਕਾਨੂੰਨ ਆ ਅਸੀਂ ਰੱਦ ਕਰਾ ਕੇ ਜਾਵਾਂਗੇ, ਨਹੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਬੈਠੇ ਰਹਾਂਗੇ. ਡਰਨ ਵਾਲੀ ਕੌਮ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ.
अगर एक कोई दुआ, एक कोई बात जो आप चाहती हैं कि इस साल पूरी हो जाए, कौन सी मन्नत आप मांगेंगे?
ਸਾਰੇ ਆਪਦਾ ਜੋ ਲੈਣ ਆਏ ਅਸੀਂ ਹੱਕ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਡਾ ਮਿਲਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ. ਅਸੀਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾਵਾਂਗੇ. ਬਾਕੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਪ੍ਰਮਾਤਮਾ ਸਾਡੀ ਸੁਣੂਗਾ ਸਾਡੀ ਦੁਆ. ਬਸ ਇਹੀ ਸੁਪਨਾ. ਹੋ ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਸਭ ਕੁਝ.
Since November, the protest sites have turned into mini settlements. At Singhu, where I am, farmers wake up at the crack of dawn to prepare meals for themselves and all those who have gathered in support, regardless of religion, caste, or gender.
Bro, you still find a dude who's horny for
Entire
that.
families
It's
are part
wild.
of the protests.
It's
And this
wild.
includes-
In the middle of all this, there's still a dude who's gonna gotchi hyper a bunch of fucking Sikh farmers showering in the river. Okay, remarkable the lengths that people will go to be horny.
The
Wild.
college-going children of farmers. Some of them say they are struggling to keep up with studies.
हमारा पहले खेती है, मेरे फादर साहब खेती करते हैं, इसीलिए पैसा आता है, इसीलिए वो मेरे को पढ़ा रहे हैं. अगर वो नहीं होगा तो कुछ भी नहीं होगा, इसीलिए हम यहाँ. दोस्त लोग जैसे मजाक भी उड़ाते थे, लेकिन अब वही सपोर्ट करते हैं, फ़ोन करके बोलते हैं कि आप अच्छा कर रहे हो, हमें गर्व है आप पे. सब अच्छा लगता है अब हमें भी कि समझ गए जो हम समझाना चाहते थे.
At Singhu, you keep hearing that it's not just a farmers' protest, that it's collective resistance.
सारी इंडिया के लिए, सारिਆਂ का सबका फायदा होना चाहिए। हाँ, और हमारे कल्याण का तो कुछ नहीं, सारे एक एक का बन के 11 होते हैं, सब इकट्ठे हुए तभी ये हुआ है। कल्ले के तो बस की बात नहीं।
There have been reports of farmers dying during the protests. So, in honor of them, no celebrations were held on New Year's Eve. But protesters do have a wish list for 2021.
हर साल जब नया साल आता है हम कुछ ना कुछ उम्मीद रखते हैं ना, तो हम चाहते हैं कि इस साल जो नया साल है सब लोग खुश रहें उसमें, और जो किसी को कुछ चाहते हैं उनके हक की लड़ाई जो लड़ रहे हैं लोग उनको उनके हक मिले। हमारे विरासत में था, जैसा भारत सोचते थे कि सब खुशहाल हो, बेगमपुरा जहाँ पे कोई गम ना हो, वैसा भारत हम चाहते हैं।
What's the objection to the new laws just got here? It's forced deregulation by the government that is causing a lot of fear within the Indian farmer movement because they do not want big business to come in and dictate prices. Anyway, boys, it's ad time, but it's also time for another thing, and that other thing, of course, is